Hello everybody, welcome to the World of Brickfilms podcast. I am your host, William of AW Studios. Joining with me as always is my good friend and co-host, Sean Willis of City Penta.
Hello, it's good to be here today.
Yes, today we've got two brickfilming legends with us. Joining with us for the first time is Jonni Phillips.
Hi, good to be here. Pretty excited about it. Feels like it's a throwback. It's a throwback Thursday. Yeah. It's Thursday today.
It feels like a long time coming, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 100%. You've been on our list of people that we've gonna have on the podcast for a long time. So yeah,
awesome.
It's a real honor to have you
with us. It is very crazy that you asked me right now, though. It's a very synchronistic thing that you guys asked. So yeah, I can get into that in a little bit.
But yeah, also joining with us today for the third time on the podcast, it is the man, the mystery, the dancing GIF himself, Ben Young of Sonjira.
Yes. Hello, it is me, Ben Young of Sonjira. I don't know how you guys keep allowing me back on here. What the f- is going on? But yes, it is me, and no one can see in the podcast, but I remembered I have my Birdface here on my desk, so that was a little Easter egg.
We're going to have to try to remember to not swear too much.
Oh, is that right? Birdface! We'll get to that later.
Birdface!
I'm glad that somebody else has that imprinted on their brain forever. Yeah, glad to be here. I'm very jazzed. I'm so freaking jazzed to be on this little video cast.
You're doing a lot of Adam Sandler voices today.
Are those Adam? I guess
you sounded like Dracula from Hotel Transylvania, and then that sounded like another. The one you just did sounded like Adam Sandler. I've never
seen those before. I've never once seen one of the Hotel Transylvania.
You would be very inspired by his performance, I would say.
I probably would be. Yeah, Uncle James is one of my big favorites.
Even though we did have a section about you in the recent iceberg video that we uploaded on Bricks in Motion, we will need to introduce why you're here. There'll be people who don't know.
Oh yeah, because I'm a little bit of a dead figure.
A little bit of a pioneer of cartoony Lego animation, if you will.
Nowadays, you have like some stature in the animation community online, and like there might be people who know your name, but they'd be thinking, why are you on a Brickfilm podcast? But yeah, this is the animator previously known as Just Kidden in the Brickfilm community. Unfortunately, all the Brickfilms are private on the YouTube channel. Rest in peace.
I just uploaded a little montage of stuff.
Yes, that was very well timed. I was like, yes,
I was actually already thinking about doing that, and then you guys asked me to. Okay, so basically. Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, I was a brick filmer from like 2008 to 2013 or something.
But once a brick filmer, always a brick filmer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't done it in a while. I want to do it again for sure, but I have an idea for something I want to do really badly. That kind of it's like kind of like an art piece I want to try doing. But yeah, no, like thinking about childhood and stuff, and thinking about that's kind of what that montage is kind of. The idea behind that in a way too is kind of thinking about. Like how to recontextualize a lot of that work that I did in like the context of like kind of trying to heal and get better as a it's
make sense of your own life.
It's very weird to look back on everything, and I think it was a very tumultuous time when I was a kid doing all this stuff. So it's like very, but like for like I don't know, like Sean and Ben, I have very fond memories of the both of you. Mm-hmm. And I remember like everyone very fondly. And when I was like on the Discord, I'm like, oh my god, this is like it's so cool, like to see like all these people who I admired or like was friends with or whatever, like who were still like around. Like it's very, I don't know, it's like I definitely, because I was super lonely when I was a kid, like homeschooled and everything, so like you guys were like my only social interactions for a long time, so it was like it's very
I can relate to that.
I've had immense respect for you for many years, because I've brought you up on the podcast a bunch of times. I think like whenever the opportunity comes up, I'm always like trying to explain this story of like how you completely rewrote the rules of Lego animation. And
that's so crazy.
Before you came along, there was practically nothing. Maybe Crispy Cheeser's kind of like what
like
you would
that's
do, but
the one.
There's like one or two things that were reminiscent of what you would do, and the stuff you were doing, like it completely blew our minds at the time, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
Back then it felt like everybody just did walk cycles and arm raises, and the hands would turn all the way around. It's super basic stuff.
I definitely started out that way because I was like really trying to mimic everybody. Like I was like really excited about like just being a part of it, kind of like like the community to me. Like when I was a kid was like, oh my god, all these awesome guys doing arm raises and walk cycles. Oh, it's so cool.
Oh god,
yeah.
That reminds me. It reminds me of when I was starting out, and I was looking at like these brick films and stuff, and I remember that like the rotating 360 degrees. And I was showing my mum like, oh, this animation is so cool, and she really hated it. It's like, why do they just do nothing but raise their arms? Like, it's really bad.
But it feels like nowadays people are pushing animation so much further in brick filming, and it's like they've only caught up to you in recent years. Like you were already doing that stuff in 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's remarkable to me, and I just love trying to keep that history alive, specifically because those brick films are kind of becoming obscure now.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I definitely went through like a little shame period about it, I guess, like where I was like, I want to list everything, and now I'm kind of proud to look back on it because I looked at like how much stuff I have, like an hour and 20 minutes of stuff, like when I put it all together. And I was like, that's like kind of insane, like that I was like doing stuff so much as a kid too, and like I feel like I kind of kept that momentum going into my adulthood too. So I'm like, I feel like it's kind of like this like this extension of like like this kind of like long thing of like I've been kind of going crazy for a long time, and it's really like it's kind of like inspiring to myself to be able to like look back on it.
But I feel like people like me and Sonjira would give you the number one credit for like making us realize that we could do more with animation in that like pre-Lego movie brick filming period.
True. Because I was doing that before the Lego movie came out. That's crazy.
For Lord Chris Miller, check your locks, watch out.
Yeah, so true.
The Lego movie brought a lot of those like professional animation ideas and principles. That kind of brought that into the brick filming mainstream. But on Bricks in Motion, it was bubbling up in the underground, But I could point to a Benny and Lee film I made called Wealth and Weirdo. Well, it's 2 parts, but the first part of that has this character who comes along, and he's an old man. He basically looks like the old man from Jeffrey and the Old Man. And I think that was pretty direct. I think I was just ripping you off, basically. But like everyone else moves super rigidly. There are walk cycles, arm raise, and that's it. But this guy comes along and he has this super exaggerated wave at the start, and like when he's talking, he's zipping all over the place. And that was basically just me. Like for the first time, I was like, hold on a second, you can do more with Lego animation. And I was just pulling from you directly. And then in Wealth and Weirdo Part 2. At the end, there's this flashback sequence that's told with like hand-drawn 2D pictures that are stop motion. But like awesome. Again, that was just directly ripped from you. Like, oh my god, you could put some other form of animation into your brick film. So like, I was super directly influenced by you.
I absolutely love the kind of like combination of different mediums that you used in Jeffrey Gets a Voice Box.
That's my favorite one I made for sure.
Like that's just like it's so great.
Yeah,
that one I feel like that's like kind of my brick filming magnum opus. I think I was like, I feel like I really like that one a lot. I really wish I finished the robot one because I feel like that one was going to be so crazy, but I unfortunately lost so much of it. But I feel like it's kind of like Sean, what you were saying. It's like there's an element to it where it's like it's kind of obvious to an extent. I think like when you actually think about it, like because you're just moving things around, like you're not. It's not like they're really limited in any real sense. It's just kind of like there's a lot of like brain barriers that you're gonna have to break down to like but it's like kind of but when you think about it, it's like they can literally like you can like put them anywhere in the frame. You can like kind of do anything you want, and like the movements are only limited by like what you're it's like there's not actually that many limitations if you like allow yourself to push it further.
I was going to say that to newer people it probably sounds really stupid. Like why didn't people think that you could just move the figures like however you want? But like that's it. Until somebody pioneers it, you just don't think of these things.
You just like don't even think it's possible. Yeah, because Legos like have a very strict joints, and you're just like, oh, that's how they move. Like
I think as well though, this is sort of thing of like I think it's significant to kind of remember like brick filming as a community. In like 2008, by that point, it was still basically the community that was there in the brickfilms.com era, and I think there were so many like sort of things of like. Where everything was kind of like, this is the standard way to do this is the standard way to do that, and people were just kind of kept in that kind of thing of, if I want my brick film to look good, it has to look like, you know, like Grace and like, you know, all these like brick films are like, this is the way you do it.
Oh yeah. The Brickfilms.com community did develop a very rigid house style, as I'd like to call it. And then they'd look down on everything else that didn't sort of meet the same criteria, even though a lot of that stuff was good in its own way, but they didn't see it that way because it didn't have the same standards, even though it was working on different standards. And we'll get into that if we're talking about something like the Deranged Lego movie.
I remember everyone when I showed up, everyone was super curmudgeon-y. Like it was like when I came on the scene, it was like everyone was like super like jaded and like mean, and I remember I was getting like roasted constantly, but I did not care. I was like, okay, I'll just improve. I'll just do it better next time. Sorry, guys. And then like there's at this one point where I had this like big shift, because I remember I made this one called like "Don't Touch My Epidermis" or something, which in hindsight is like the funniest thing in the world. Like it's so dumb, but it's so funny. Like the voice and everything. But I remember, I think it might have been Sean or someone, but I remember like everyone was like barreling on me for this one because it had like a ton of light flicker or whatever, and like I was using the same like Benny Hill music for everything I made or something. And I remember everyone was like so mad at me. I remember like I was getting like super crazy crit for it on the forum, and I was like, I gotta step up my game now. Everyone's realizing like I have to. And I remember that like really like sent me down this like, I gotta get better at this because everyone's like mad at me now. And that was when I did like, I think the first Jeffrey Mail and the Old Man or whatever, like the Forgot one or something. I remember that was when I felt like I finally kind of like cracked the code of like what everyone was expecting.
I agree. Yeah, the first Jeff and the Old Man for Brawl 09, that was like the first one where you were kind of operating on a similar like level to the other Bricks in Motion people. But I was going to say, like, you are right, that sort of 07, 08 time period, that was when everyone was the snobbiest and the most critical. And for some people, it was useful. You know, it did make you get a lot better. It was faster. Definitely like it made me want to improve like crazy. I was like, I wanted to impress everyone so bad. But they were, I mean, looking back on it now, the posts look ridiculous because, like, people are so self-serious and they're talking to literal children, you know? I mean, you know, of course, you still get some of that today, but if you look back on it from back then, it's way crazier than anything you see today.
There's a lot of nostalgia for forums, but they really just make, like, curmudgeonly motherfuckers. It really just turns up that exact personality trait to absolutely, like, 300%. Because
that's right. But I did want to say that I might have told this story before, but I've always found it funny that I have a very, very distinct memory of when you first arrived. This was on the refugee camp era of Bricks in Motion. Yeah. And when you first arrived, I'd been around for a while already, and you were, like, the most annoying kid, like number one. You were posting like every 5 seconds, and back then I just spent literally all my time hitting refresh on the forum waiting for new posts to come in, and every time I'd refresh it'd be a new post from you, and I'd be like, oh, this kid again with these posts with no substance, you know. I remember so funny. You were trying to get your post count up as high as possible because the post count was visible at the time. But what's so funny about that is that I thought of you as the super annoying kid, and we were like the same age. So I've always found that so funny.
I always like wanted to seem like I was older than I was. There was like this period where I was like trying to like make it seem like I was like this older guy or something. Like I was like. Like, I would lie about my age constantly. I would tell people like I was like 12. I'd be like, yeah, I'm like 16. Because I want everyone to think I was like old and cool.
Through that exact age.
I look back at my forum posts now, and my forum posts from back then are absolutely insane because I'm talking like an old person, and I was 12. It's crazy to look at.
Totally. Because you're like, I need to use big vocab and correct punctuation, and it's like,
and I'm like trying to debate about like religion and evolution and stuff. It's crazy. But I was gonna say, like, that impression of you, it didn't last long at all, though, because, you know, like, your films started getting, you know, really impressive, and of course, I guess we probably started talking on Skype.
We definitely
after not too long, because I was voice acting your films in 09.
And you did like Jeffrey's voice for like a second too, like after Deranged, I think.
I did.
So he says his name Deranged.
Was it Dara?
Dara, yeah. I saw that he was on the podcast recently. I didn't listen to that.
The last episode, I think, or something.
Yeah. Him and Sean Collins. That was like a throwback. Oh yes, sorry. I was saying Sean because you know.
But
the last episode as of this recording, but it probably will be the second from last by the time.
But yeah, they only just returned recently for Attack after a long hiatus.
That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like I want to do Attack at some point or something.
That'd be so
cool. I'll figure it out. I feel like I'm definitely very nostalgic for Brickfilming right now. It's really crazy that you guys contacted me when you did though, because I've been planning to go to Legoland for my birthday for the past few months, and I went on Sunday. But the few days before I went, I found this shattered Lego set on the ground on my walk, by a church. I was like, oh, what? So evocative. And I have a picture of it actually, but and a few days later I go to Legoland, and the next day I'm like, I should start looking at my Lego movies again. I feel like it'll help me kind of process things. And then William sent me the message around that, and I'm like, oh god, I guess I gotta use this.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, because I've been going through a very long period of trying to fix myself, kind of thing. And it feels like I kind of have, this is my next step in a weird way, is kind of reconcile with Legos.
your problematic association with Legos.
Yeah. It was such a huge part of my whole life. And it definitely represents a lot of things to me. And even looking at them now, I can have sense memories of what was going on when I was making them. So it's it's pretty bonkers. It's but yeah, I'm really happy that you guys reached out when you did, because I feel it's a very,
and I did always. I always found it kind of disappointing that you didn't finish your last brick film.
I really wanted to.
It felt like unfinished business. Yeah, it'd be cool to see you return.
I definitely think about doing it sometime. It's I feel like if I were to revisit it, I would probably approach it differently. Obviously, because it's
you just changed there's still a lot of that DNA that is still there.
There is,
but especially because I rewatched Wasteland this morning, going all the way through it, and I was there's so much that is the same, but also there's so much evolution, clearly both just craft wise and also personally that you can really.
Well, I mean, I didn't learn anything at Cal Arts for real. I feel like I only learned things from brick filming. Anything else is just from practice. I got better through practice, but it's when I was at Cal Arts, I was I know all this already. I was
but you already had a handle on all the principles at age 12, so yeah.
That's the thing, the way that you approached brick filming, it was something that you could translate into pretty much any form of animation, whereas I think that the previous the way that people approached brick filming in the past was so intrinsically tied to Lego, whereas the way that you did stuff where it's kind of it's just they bend and move around just however, that is intrinsic.
I think I was saying this to you before we started the recording, but it felt like you were one of the only people who entered brick filming from the standpoint of having an interest in the animation itself, whereas everyone else either had an interest in Lego or they had an interest in filmmaking or storytelling or just telling funny jokes, but there was barely anyone. There was Mind Game was a good animator, but there was so few people who were animators.
Well, even Zach was kind of he was still very Lego based, in his animation. He was definitely the most fluid, I feel at the time. He was the most the one I remember being the most impressive animator. Yeah, for sure. But I feel it was still kind of
yeah, it's still in that sort of Brickfilms.com style.
I do want to point out that this is how real animators talk. They say fluid, not smooth animation.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely feel it's weird to see how much my interest shifted over time, of what I was wanting to do. Because I think even when I was when I started, I was oh yeah, smoothness is the thing that is the best. Smoothness is good. And then I think at some point it was I was oh, it's cooler to be kind of crazy, I guess. Yeah. I remember KG. I mean, James was I don't know if to refer to them as their usernames or their names.
I mean, I still call everyone by their old username. I mean, I still call you Just Kidden every time. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean yeah, with KG's stuff, I remember he was super inspirational to me when I was young too, because he was one of the funniest brick filmers for sure. Where it was all his stuff was really concise, funny comedy, and that was really inspiring to me. I remember, so he was kind of my biggest inspo for a long time, and then I think I feel KG and Zach, I mean KG and Mind Game are very huge influence, and Nathan Wells too was huge for me. Yeah, I feel Left Field was also really big. I feel for me, I was Left Field.
That makes a lot of.
Yeah, like Left Field and KG are probably my favorites at the time. I was like,
yeah, as far as comedy goes, Left Field and KG,
Yeah.
they
really
own,
had it.
Their own style, their own voice. Yeah.
yeah.
I always felt like KG, like, you know, because it does have, like, as we're saying, like, that kind of Brickfilms, like, really kind of, like, stiff style, but I feel like for him, it always, like, it really works with the comedy. It feels like it isn't, they aren't just doing it because, like, that's all, like, that they know. It feels like it works with how it's written. His,
Somehow,
like, kind of deadpan.
like, it, like, works very well. I can totally see that. And, like, like, his humor actually kind of fit really well with, like, the faces somehow, like, the Lego faces.
Yeah.
Like,
because there's a lot of, like, still shots. Like, I remember the one with the mustache where it's, like, that one mustache face, right?
Yeah.
Like, where...
Oh, but yeah, the mustache.
Like, the one face where it's the mustache, but it looks like a mouth that's going, or something like that. Like,
It's so good.
It works really well.
That is true. That his stuff fits well with the faces, like just the generic Lego smiley face on Mr. Tater in the Kevin and Mr. Tater films. You know, it's just perfect. Like,
Mr. Tater was
Snuggie,
hilarious.
did you eat my waffles? It fits. The face fits with the voice.
It's like, I feel like I have such a hard time now being like, because I feel like unless like I needed to for like some job or something, I couldn't animate with just like stock Lego faces anymore. But Chihuahua like really does like, it really gets that. Like it really like makes that like lack of expressiveness.
You feel like, you feel like the characters are kind of like, you know, they go so well with faces and like, like the way they look and stuff.
As well. Really weird looking face.
Do you remember in like there was like that was super inspirational because like the like floppy arms for like a second. That was like so genius. I remember when he did that. I feel like that was definitely something that I was like really excited and like inspired by that when I saw it. I was like
I remember that specific moment watching that and that broke my brain open. Like that like opened up.
Another that was like one of those moments where it's like, oh, there's more that you can do here. This stuff.
And it, like that was still definitely like kind of brickfilms.com kind of logic, I guess, if you think about it, because it's like he's still kind of using the floppiness of just like kind of reversing the arm position, I think, or whatever. But it was definitely like mind blowing at the time because it's like, again, like when these things were happening, it's like in like real time and like you're seeing people kind of do things in real time. It's like your brain is slowly expanding as you like see all this what everyone's doing. Which definitely, it's cool to know that I was also a part of that because I feel like I really wanted to be
absolutely number one. I can't overstate like how influential like everybody. Because I think like Chris as well. You know, people who were around in that like 2010 to 2013 era. You know, we all would give you the credit as far as like remember the animation challenge on Bricks in Motion. Like the stuff you were making in the animation challenge was on a different level than what other people were doing. Like all that stuff was
like the Spider-Man stuff. I remember that for doing.
Because the one that I remember, because I think the first one of yours that I saw was, I forget what it was called, but it was for Brawl 2011. It was the plane one.
Yeah, the plane one.
The plane one,
like that one was like the funniest that I'd ever seen at that point on brickfilms.com, and I was like, I need to be that. And then I think like 2 years later, I made my one that's like flying low, I think, and like I definitely was like, especially for the main cockpit thing, that was like I was thinking about that. Like I want to make something that is as whack as this.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't at the point with animation to be anywhere close to that.
You know,
I was just like,
it's like in that time period you're talking about, everybody would have a character that for like one frame they'd flip upside down onto their head. Do you remember this?
Yeah, like vaguely, because
yeah, and I feel like that was like directly lifted from your stuff. Nobody else did it as good, but yeah, it was like this.
I definitely was very excited by that idea when I started doing that. Like,
must flip them over.
Yeah,
but it became this super common trend. In fact, I think even to a point where we were on the chat room complaining like about every brick film has people flipping on their head for a single frame. It's so overdone.
Yeah, let's just say I'm the mastermind behind the flipping their head, the flipping on their head.
Mastermind behind all your discontent.
Yeah, let's just say
you're responsible for this.
That's pretty much. I don't really see that anymore though. But it kind of reminds me of like that's the kind of tell that, you know, to show how much of an influence you had in a similar manner to how after Major Malfunction everybody had to do a brick film where a character had a wobbly top hat. Again, you had to be there. If you weren't there, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah,
there was the stuff that metastasized out, and people just have to do that. The same thing with the wobbly arms from KG. Like people were going on that early.
I do want to actually point out something. That it's significant that you've got both Ben Young and Joni here, because I feel like you're both animators who everything you do is like it's so icon, you know, like
it has an artistic voice to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ben really continued my like little cartoony Lego animation spirit and like kind of pushed it. I feel like you kind of are doing what I would have been doing if I kept brick filming. I think
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Like, because you're doing like multiplane stuff and you're doing like that's amazing. Like everything you're doing is incredible. And I'm like, I feel like if I had continued, I probably would have been in a similar area to where you're at. And it feels kind of cool to like see. I don't know. It feels like you kind of like took the baton in some way, I guess, which is cool. Like
I grab it.
Yeah.
I have baton right here.
It is funny though, because like, you know, you were on the podcast 4 years ago now for the first time, and the amount that you've kind of like I guess evolved in that time as an animator is like it's kind of crazy.
yeah, because I feel like there's so much has happened like with me, and just like, you know. Like, I mean, I kind of sometimes feel the same where I'm like, how much did I actually learn at film school versus brick filming? But like the amount of like, but like the amount of just like,
do we all feel that?
But like I feel like the amount that I've just like changed, like I guess as a person, and just like the kind of like stuff that like I consume, like from like consuming things that are like outside of just like other brick films, and like you know, like okay, these other films, and then like hell, I think your stuff like Goodbye for Party was like my first exposure to like what a multiplane was, and then like that goes down the line and stuff like that.
So,
and so
the influence continues in brick filming even to this day.
It's cyclical
because now other people are taking influence from Sonjira and doing multiplane animation. So yeah, well, just like everything else in brick filming, it all starts from Just Kidden.
Let's just say I invented it at this point.
Pretty much the originator. Pretty much.
I suppose. Were you watching any were you studying 2D animation like way back?
Yeah, I was.
Before CalArts.
That was my idea, kind of. Because I remember when I was like around like 11 or 12, I was like, I'm going to go to CalArts. That's where I'm going to go. I was like, I'm going to go to CalArts and I'm going to do 2D animation. And so it was like, you know, I started kind of like already thinking about it around that time. I remember I like would get all like the animation books and be like studying. I was doing paper animation on the side too. Even when I was like super young, I was doing it like with like kind of. I remember I posted some tests back in the day or something when I first started or something, but I was mostly doing it like kind of on the side, just like practicing at the same time that I was brick filming. And I remember at some point I was like, I feel like I could probably apply the same concepts to brick filming. And I remember this period where I was like, well, I definitely want to see how far I can push that idea, I guess. Like, so I think there's maybe I want to say like Average American Halloween one or whatever. I think that was probably when I started trying really hard, I think, to do it. I think before it was kind of a subconscious thing that I was just attempting, but then there was like a point where I think I started consciously being like, I'm gonna try and push this. I remember there was like some like Ren and Stimpy like paint background in that one, and I was like trying to think of that. And I remember there's like a period where I was like, I'm gonna try and see how far I can push this. And then I remember just being really excited about like figuring out how far it could go, because it was like I don't remember like when exactly it started, when that idea started, but it was definitely something that even probably when I was younger, I was like even when I first started brick filming, I think I also liked cartoons, obviously, and I wanted to do cartoons, and I would draw comics all the time and do, you know, I would draw all the time and everything. So I think I already was like associating them together, and then just eventually it started, like the interest started to merge. And then I like as I progressed, it's like I got into like animation high school programs and stuff. So then like it kind of like started to influence that. And then like I think like probably my last brick films were all like around when I went to CISA, I think. And then like my last back entry was like after CISA, and that was I made that with my partner at the time, and then we both ended up going to CalArts. And then I did like Sick Move after that, and then I got really overwhelmed with everything, so I was like, I have to just like kind of focus on art now, I
What
guess.
a way to go out. What a wonder.
Yeah, Sick Move, I'm like very proud of that.
Stamp on that legacy. Like,
I am quite proud of Sick Move, I think. Like even
Hell
looking
yeah.
at it now, I'm like, this is like kind of baller.
This is a sick Moved it, yo.
But yeah, Ren and Stimpy for sure must have been a huge influence. I think a lot of the stock music in your old Brick films, isn't that like?
Yeah, it's like SpongeBob, Ren and Stimpy, Nickelodeon stuff. I wasn't that inspired by Ren and Stimpy. I was watching it at the time though. Like it was kind of like. It probably seems like I was more inspired by like Ed, Edd and Eddy and like a lot of like a lot more kind of like consistent stuff. I don't know, like Ren and Stimpy to me kind of is a little overrated. Even at the time, I was like, I don't know, not for me. Like, but I was like really into like Chowder and Ed, Edd and Eddy, like these kind of more more experimental kind of cartoons, I guess. That was like Flapjack and all that stuff. SpongeBob even like was huge for me.
Yeah, I think Ed, Edd and Eddy holds up really well.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you watch it now, it's like it's exactly the same as watching as a kid for me. Like it's like because it's so like unexpected. Like everything is like so. It's like it feels very fresh no matter what, which is cool. And I feel like not a lot of animation does that. It's like kind of gets stale after a while. But yeah, but yeah, like I think it's definitely interesting to like think about like kind of because I when I did that montage the other day, it's like like you can really see the progression of the ideas kind of happening in real time, like when you see them kind of back to back like that.
It's really dramatic, like seeing how much like the changes. Because I'd never seen those really, really early ones that you did like, before, like actually getting the style sort of going. So I was like, "Whoa!" I didn't realize it wasn't always like this.
No. There's definitely like a period where like I think like halfway through that video you can see like kind of the shift. Like
it just like
it's like okay, here it is. Like
this is where.
Because it's like there was like the phase of like just doing whatever I wanted and just posting all the time or whatever, like the annoying kid era, and then it was like, and then it turned into like, okay, now I'm a serious brick filmer or whatever, or now I'm doing like more serious brick films that are like what everybody wants.
Oh god!
And then all of a sudden I was like, okay, I'm gonna go crazy.
Everyone's got that shift where they go from like I just found bricksinmotion.com and I'm so jazzed and I'm making a movie like every 2 days and I'm like, oh, I just spent 4 hours on this one. It was really hard. I hope you guys like it. Like it's like actually make stuff
like,
and like
I love that there is that in that point of like just before you get to like really start getting there, it's like, oh yeah, now I'm a serious brick filmer. I'm making
you have to go through the self-serious phase.
I had definitely a brick film like that.
If you see my forum posts from back in the day, they're so embarrassing. Like the ones that are like dash JK or something at the end, like I would do like that all the time. I would be like, and I'd be like I don't know. I was like, my tone was so strange because it wasn't how I talk. Like it wasn't like I wasn't that kind of kid in real life. I was like more like kind of how I am now, really. Like I was just kind of like hyper and like weird and like crazy. And then for some reason I was like, oh yeah, like on Bricks in Motion, I'm gonna be all like,
we all felt it.
Well, you see,
we all felt like we had to try and format our posts so seriously. Well, it was because like people would complain if you had poor spelling and grammar and if you
I do not miss that at all about the internet. Like that was the thing that sucked about 2010 whatever internet. Was
people would would get really mad at me at first, and then I think that's probably why I reacted that way and started doing like the really formatted posts.
Exactly.
I was like,
sincerely, JK.
I find it so funny. I look back now at my posts when I was 12 and 13, how serious they are, and nowadays I'm just sitting in Discord and every 5 seconds, lol, swag,
lol, swag. Got it. You have to go back. You have to live the childhood.
Yeah, it was such a crazy culture too.
You're talking about wanting to do attack entry again, and I was thinking it'd be practically disappointing if you made a new brick film and it wasn't in 240p with the crustiest image quality.
Well, I mean, I have the same webcam.
You do?
Yo, really? What webcam is that? What is
the Logitech QuickCam Pro 9000?
Nice.
But everything was 240p back then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I might have had a different webcam, like a Cinco one before that, but then at some point I switched to Logitech.
I mean, the 9000 was 720p, I think.
Yeah, no, I think I just was bad at exporting.
Well, that's like me.
So,
I was like that for a good while of just like having a camera that actually could do way more than it could, but I just sort of like kept exporting it in the lowest resolution.
Your camera quality was so distinctive, like it just felt like a lo-fi aesthetic. Even you could say that your stuff has a similar vibe even up to this day, you know.
Yeah, well, I definitely do it on purpose now.
Yeah. This is a choice now.
Yeah, now it's a choice. I think when I was a kid, I was just like not really sure how to do it. But
same.
I will say that I use the same webcam now for my Stilton series that I make with my friend Victoria. We're doing like the finale.
Love
soon.
Stilton.
Yeah,
yes.
We're doing like the finale for Stilton now. Like we're probably gonna be done. We're gonna try and release it like this summer, I think. But yeah, it's all construction paper cutouts that are like shot on that same like webcam.
Stilton and a dog that smokes weed like really just hit like a certain thing. Like they are a gift to the world.
Yeah,
honestly.
dog that smokes weed is also the same webcam. It's like I remember when we were doing the first Stilton, I was like, it'll just be easy if I just use like the Lego webcam, and then now it's like something I can just kind of I should use whenever I can because it's like kind of awesome.
Yeah, like there's something really nice like about the simplicity of it because I feel like a DSLR is nice, but like it's just nice when you can just set it up and you're basically just like okay, whatever.
I think I also just have like a nostalgia for the like low quality.
Yeah,
I remember like even back
cozy.
then now. Like I remember I would like zoom in really close on stuff or whatever with like the digital function, and I would like the way it looked. You know, I'd be like, like that it's like
so
kind of grainy and hard
completely
to see.
crushed. Completely crushed.
Like, but it's like kind of cool looking. It's kind of like But I remember I did like it at the time. Like I was like I didn't really want to get like a better webcam or anything because I like the pixels and stuff.
I'm guessing there was people who were complaining on the forum saying you should get a better webcam.
Yeah, probably.
But now I look back on that stuff and I'm like I wouldn't change this for the world.
I would. Because I was watching. We'll get to it later, but I was watching Birdface Origins again. There's that one weird thing where it's like the teacher and the student, and it's a back and forth, and like I'm breathing really heavy as it just gets closer and closer, and like I can't focus anymore because it's so close.
With Birdface, like there is no narcissistic. There is only us.
But like I got people complaining, like I thought you were pretty competent, but I was really put off by the fact that you put the camera so close and it was out of focus, and I'm like. Oh, like, but now I'm just like, yo, that was awesome, dude. I don't care.
I love that stuff. Like in Birdface Origins, it's just so good.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it later, but there's a lot for me going back to it where I'm just like, oh my god, like thinking about just like my life at the time and like how much that was to do like for me. I was like, and then bringing it out and then people like having some people just be like, this is like the worst thing you've ever done.
I was a Birdface fan from day one. I was a Birdface fan from day one. I was like, this is awesome.
That really was like, that was the first time putting something out. And then actually having people genuinely, like kind of genuinely, I think there was a little bit of like, this is just like ironic funny, I guess. But like.
I thought it was like, sincerely funny. It's like.
I mean, I feel like that might be the start of the sort of Sonjira style.
It is 110% because everything else was just like that guy with the glasses, like weird, like what is happening here? What is But that one, I don't know. It's just like I think literally I just improvised that in front of the microphone, whereas everything else I typed up in Microsoft Word in MLA style or something like that, and that one was just me riffing. And then I like recorded it and then animated it in one day, and then like I don't know, I had some trouble. Like trying to export it or something like that. So I went in the IRC and I was like, I'm having so much trouble posting this. I spent like 4 hours making this video. And then Lechnology was just like 4 hours, bro. Come on. And I was like, oh.
Don't even bother.
Is Lechnology still around? Is he like
he's not exactly that active. He's still a patron on the Bricks in Motion Patreon, so shout out.
Yeah. He was like the social media manager for like years after, like pretty recently. Like when I was in college, he was still the social media manager. He ran the Twitter for Bricks in Motion, which is so funny. Yeah.
Remember when I posted amphibian appendages or something?
Classic.
Like NXT Maniac was like he like hated it or something.
Really?
That's weird.
That seems like that would appeal to him.
Because he loved Birdface. Yeah.
It was before he like made a shift, I think.
It
was before, but then he started doing crazier stuff after that for sure. It's fun. It's funny. Like,
maybe amphibian appendages planted a seed in his mind.
Yeah, you might have flipped a switch in his brain and led to Pancake Island or something.
I feel like I won him over with eggs or something. I remember I have these like vague recollections of timelines because I like again like the Brickfilming Community was like my only friends for like a long time. So it's like the only social interaction I had. So I was like so I have like a lot of things kind of just like stored away about it, but it's like
but yeah, I feel like amphibian appendages was a big deal at the time. Like I mean, people were taking note of your style of animation before that, but that one really I think is like a marker, you know.
Yeah, I remember people really like resonate or no, they really like responded to it.
Yeah.
Is Max Butcher still around? Is he like
No.
No,
Does anyone know what happened to him?
I don't, because he made like a THAC entry like a couple years back, and then that was like it or something. Yeah, I was thinking about that because I remembered. I was like, oh wow, yeah. Where did I think
no, I feel like he
went
was
off
like
with his life.
my most outskuspoken supporter. I feel like
that makes
that's what
sense.
I
He was because he definitely had that like sensibility, like all of that, like because I remember Alazadelo, like that one THAC one that he did that that would tickled me straight purple.
Yeah. Or is Squid still around? Harrison?
Not so much on Bricks in Motion. I see him on Twitter still talking about a brick film in production. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like he was also doing kind of cartoony stuff, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm. That was slightly after you. Well, actually, I guess 2011 he did Pirates Rule. I feel like it was more like 2013 or when he was doing the Rigo Faloo films.
Yeah. What about when did Mob Deli come on?
2011 with Egyptian Holiday.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was a huge deal at the time. Yeah,
that was When was
that? Was a crazy year because was that the same year as or was a copyright? Yeah, like that was
and Birdface,
nothing else getting through at the
and Birdface. Yeah. Number one copyright 2 Egyptian Holiday 3 Birdface. Yeah.
Yeah.
When was Amphibian Appendages? Was that?
It was 2010.
Okay, and then what did I always like have to reference the wiki page.
You have the walking wiki page right here. Like, that's good.
You know, I was funny. I was because I got so many tabs open right now. I got your page, and I love how like your self portrait is basically like exactly as you are now with the headband and the phone.
Exactly. Holy crap, that is crazy.
That's funny. I didn't even notice.
Well, I think
you made the same shirt. Like,
I feel like I've said it before that you're essentially a real life cartoon character. So yeah, that tracks.
I was saying.
Yeah. That's true as Jiro as well. Like.
Yeah, you have literally the two cartoon characters. I've told that for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I guess I'll embrace it because I don't know how to be any way else.
Yeah.
But actually, there was some mention of some of your more recent work there, and. Yeah, yes. We must talk about Barber Westchester.
Yes,
sometimes we have some guests in mind often, where we've had them in mind basically since the beginning, but we're kind of waiting for some new release, usually a brick film, but in this case we were like, okay, you've released this feature-length film, seems like a good excuse to finally bring you on the podcast.
Yeah. I feel like
what an amazing film.
A lot of...
Yeah,
thank you. I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like Secrets and Lies and Barber were definitely me, like kind of like a return to form, like in brick filming sense in a way, because I feel like they feel more like the approach I had to brick filming than my schoolwork, honestly, because I was doing them independently, like on my own, so I was just kind of like working on them constantly, and I didn't really have that much input besides like my friends like giving me critique or something. And
versus like Wasteland, where you're getting a lot of input from like your peers at CalArts and stuff.
Like Wasteland, I don't know. I was still kind of like with CalArts, I was not listening to anybody, but it was like still like it was still kind of formed by context, I guess.
Yeah.
It was, like,
when you're around that many people, you can't like help. Just something about like the air gets in that. But yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, with Barber and Secrets and Lies, it feels like spirit wise, it feels kind of like brick filming again, and I really that's kind of something I was missing when I was in school, and like because I don't know, I missed like that kind of energy, you know, like that kind of like kind of creative freedom and kind of creative energy to like just kind of do something.
Yeah.
It's really fitting for Barber because I feel like it's in a way like about that, like I don't know, kind of about like using animation as like an escape, and then it kind of biting you in the ass, you know, like because I got to a point like because the movie is essentially like it just kind of exaggerated version of my life.
Yeah, I could tell.
And kind of like it's like. And just kind of like parallels or whatever, but like you kind of like if you think about animation as like the stand-in for NASA and whatever, it's like it is basically a parallel to like what my life was like, where I was just kind of like using it to like distract myself from like what was going on, never thinking about just work, and then continuing into school, but in school it started to bite me in the ass because now I'm like a person, and now I'm like now I have to like deal with all these like actually crazy things, and it was just like it was a very yeah, I don't know. So it felt like, in a way, it was definitely going back in a energy sense, like going back to the old kind of energy of like just making stuff. But then also I feel like it was kind of fitting for about the subject.
Yeah, thematic.
It's a very like weird thing to think about. Like kind of like how like intrinsic like animation has been to me, like ignoring all my problems.
I was gonna say, it certainly it felt like I could have an interesting read on it because I remember you from 2008, 2009, and like you were like even more sheltered than the average sheltered kid on Bricks in Motion, and like so obviously within the first 2 minutes of the film, I'm kind of like, you know, there's interesting things going on here, like when Barber's getting in trouble for looking at videos online and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow, yeah, because I wasn't around for that. Like I don't know what you go into that, but like,
I was extremely like there was a lot going on.
Word up.
It's kind of a one-to-one in a lot of ways. It's just literally some stuff.
Well, yeah, if you don't want to get into that too much,
but there's definitely some worse things that happened that I'm not putting in the movie, obviously. But it's like,
I feel like you know, a lot is portrayed in that, but in a really beautiful way. I feel like in a way you can kind of understand, you know, the human kind of emotions of it and the story behind it. But it's told in such a beautiful way, and I love the way that like you have all of these kind of people's stories, you know, like the way that Barber kind of interacts with these people and kind of, you know, they talk about their kind of stories and how that kind of relates to Barber, and I found that element of the story,
and like all their baggage and stuff,
and the way that you visually show that with, you know, you have like guest animators doing different mediums and stuff, which I thought was really wonderful, different animation styles and stuff, and no, I found it really kind of touching. I mean, I'm personally like really a sucker for like any kind of like coming of age kind of stories, and you don't really see that much like in brick filming or, you know, or animation in general.
Most people are doing that. They're coming of age as they're brick. But go like this.
You can't tell a coming of age story in like 10 minutes. You know, it needs that length, and no, it's a wonderful film, a really touching film.
Well, I feel like that's why your stuff resonates with people as strongly as it does, because, you know, I mean, obviously there's some people who like, I don't know, some people might think your style is like too messy or too annoying or something, but there's other people who are like absolutely rabid fans, you know, and it's because there's that human element in it.
And like, I think that the style really just like, I don't know, just melds with it too, because it just exactly, because like, especially like going back and like watching through like a lot of your stuff retrospectively, especially my first time like watching all of Wasteland like as the feature movie instead of like piecemeal as it's coming out, like there's something about it that just like feels like so honest, that really like fits the content of the story, where I almost feel like if it was like I think like traditional, I guess would be the word for it, like I feel like it just wouldn't like work as well, which is like weird, because people think of like, I don't know, I guess like really emotional stories having like really like, I don't know, like whatever you call it, like serious animation or something like that, but like there's something about like that messiness, like mirroring the messiness of like the creator's life, and just the messiness of like what
there is something about it that it just works, like to have these little blob creatures, but it's so like so real at the same time. But I found it so funny to see sometimes you're on Twitter talking about like how in the past people have complained when you draw characters with like 12 fingers or something, and like they're taking it so seriously. They're like, why are you doing this? This is an abomination.
Why?
So it's like one of those things that some people just get it and some don't.
Yeah, it's kind of the same as like when I was a brick filmer too. It's like you kind of do these like kind of more out there like choices, and then kind of people are immediately like, what the you know, like, why are you doing that?
Because people up on that Richard Williams and they're just like they just like can't like see outside of like the bubble or whatever.
I think with my work for sure, it's kind of like it's an acquired taste in a way, where you kind of have to be like willing to like sit down and like take it for what it is instead of like judging it for what it's not, you know.
It's this kind of thing. I think people can't escape the realism, or like, you know, like, oh, this is real. You know, it real equals good, or like I guess in brick filming it's conforming to the specific ways in which animation.
This is how you're supposed to do a walk cycle.
Like I was reading this one book a few days ago where it was sort of just talking about, like, I don't know, like, it was a weird quote that was talking about, I guess, just like draftsmanship in animation and stuff like that. And I forget who exactly said it, but it's something to the effect of just like the better of like a drawer or a draftsperson you are, the more that is like going to like a better, I guess, or just like, I don't know, however what you call it, like more towards that like conventional style. Like, I guess the easier it is for like the story to get away or something to that effect, if that resonates. And because I feel like for me, I there's been times where I've been like, oh man, like I wish that I could do X, Y, or Z in animation or something like that. But at a certain point, it's like, I don't know, like you just kind of have to like do what like just resonates, or just like what like kind of comes out, where you almost have to just like be like, you know, because I freaking I love your animation, but but it's like, but I always love how you like put the story like first, and that always feels to me like, no matter how amazing the animation is, like it always feels like that is coming first.
But, you know,
like,
it's like it feels like there's emotion to the animation itself. Like if it was all just rigid, like, you know, playing by the rules, it wouldn't have the same spirit to it that
it would feel less. It'd actually be harder to connect. You know, I think it's more human if it because it is that kind of I don't want to say flawed, but it's, I guess, messy. I guess you could say the word, because I feel like if it was, you would feel detached, I think, from the story if it was just kind of.
It feels like an expression by a person. You know, it couldn't have been made by a robot. That's really
interesting. I feel like, because I was really obsessed with it, like, for a long time until, like, recently, with, like, this idea of, like, the distancing effect, which is, like, kind of this thing in theater where you kind of... where you, like, kind of remind the audience that they're watching something and everything. And for a long time, especially with, like, Goodbye Fairy Party and, like, Essentia, I was, like, really obsessed with that idea, and kind of, like, trying to remind people that they're watching something. But I think what's weird is that even though I attended that, it kind of doesn't seem to distance people that much. Like, I feel like people kind of resonate with it more, weirdly, like that work more. Like, and it's hard for me to place why, because I feel like, to me, the reason why I was even interested in it was because I'm, like, afraid of being fully sincere a little bit. Because I'm like, you know, like, I'm kind of scared of, like, you know, of fully committing to being emotionally
open,
like, sincere in that way. But I still have this, like, deep desire to do it. So my idea was like, oh, I guess if I kind of put some barriers up, then people won't totally notice. But I don't think that didn't even happen. Like, that didn't, like, I was like, which is kind of funny, I think, because I was, like, kind of so high and mighty in my brain about, like, oh yeah, if I, like, do these little tricks, people, like, won't connect with it, but then they do anyway. It's like, so
I think
it's like
there is such a kind of beautiful way of making something that is kind of, I guess, semi-biographical, almost like completely biographical in a way, where, like, I think in a way it's kind of freeing. You're able to kind of, like, express in the same way that people connect to the kind of messiness of that kind of style. I think you can kind of, you're given a kind of freedom to almost express what you want to express in a way that I feel like maybe it'd be harder to do if it was, you know, more down to earth and more, you know, real, quote unquote, you know.
I feel like the stories that I tell and then the animation that I do kind of fit each other very well, I think. Like, the things that I choose to talk about and, like, the things that I try to do, I think they are a good match. And I feel like if I were to, like, try and do, like, what I do with, like, a rom-com or something, I don't know if that would work, you know, like or if I try to do, like, Star Wars or something with, like, the kind of style
the form fits the
like, it's kind of they're kind of built for each other in a way, and I feel like
it makes a lot of
definitely
sense.
I think that there is that, I think, as well, of, like, I don't know, it kind of makes you sort of think of, like, because I guess most of my stories are more I don't think I've ever got, like, too personal in any of my kind of films, but I think it's kind of maybe it's kind of given me some ideas of, like, if I wanted to go down that route of doing something very personal, like, how I would express it and like,
well, yeah, you know, I think I'm just thinking about the fact that just a few minutes ago we were saying, like, oh, you don't really see these sort of coming of age stories in Brickfilming, and it's like that maybe that's a reason why, you know, if the form matches the story, maybe Lego animation just kind of doesn't match the story.
Like, I mean, that's been, like, a thing that I've bumped up against, is just, like, there is only, like, so much you can
like,
sort
I'm kind of
like,
wondering,
do.
what do you like if you were to come back to Lego animation now with no, like, time restrictions or whatever, like, what stories would you be thinking of doing with Lego?
Well, I have one that this is the thing that I'm kind of debating doing a brick film for right now, is that I want to make this one called Talent Show, I think, and I've been thinking about it for like a long time. And it's kind of like an extension of the barber stuff, honestly, but it's like kind of thinking about like how do you work with like brick filming to like do something that's like really sincere and like kind of coming from that same place. And the way I've been thinking about it is just kind of like, well, maybe like it could be like this anthology of like different things. Like some could be like depictions of real things that happened in Legos or whatever, or like kind of trying to recreate the memories that I've kind of blocked out. And then also kind of writing some monologues. And then there's like some like scenes I want to write that are like about kind of religious trauma and like kind of going back to that time and kind of like, you know, what can I, you know, how direct can I get with this? Because it's like, you know, it's the language that I was speaking at the time. And I'm like, how can I like almost like talk to myself back then, if that makes sense? Like, how, like that would be kind of my impulse, would be like, is there a way to speak to like, you know, that 10-year-old who's like very, you know, like, you know, who like can't stop thinking about Legos or whatever. It's like, how do you like, you know, maybe like pay attention to what's happening, because like, you know, like you should probably like, you know, I don't know. It's so I'm like, that's kind of what I've been thinking about, is like, how can I recontextualize a lot of this stuff?
I would love to see a brick film like that from you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I feel like that would like I like that would speak like to a lot of, I think, people, because I feel like there's like a lot of brick filmers like who
similar story.
Like, who just be similar, like a lot of similar backstory, because like a lot of like I mean it's sort of a meme, but it's just like, I don't know, there's a lot of like very like specific origins and backgrounds that people come in that like lead them to be like, oh, I will look at my Lego and I will put them in front of my webcam and make a sick skateboard video or something like that. Like it's just like you like you get surprised of just like, oh wait, you did that too, or something like. I think that resonate. Like,
cool. Yeah, I think I might do it. I'm just trying to figure, because I have a pretty busy schedule right now, but it's like, you just kind of like figuring out.
Yeah, that's the rub always. Is like, can I actually make any time to do this? Yeah,
I definitely have Legos like around. I just need to figure out like what I can do with like the amount of Legos I have, or like I have Seinfeld one right here.
That's awesome.
The Seinfeld one.
That feels so appropriate. Maybe
I'll use that.
I often have these thoughts of like, oh, I wish I could get some idea for a brick film that would be super meaningful and interesting, you know, like real art. And then but then I always end up thinking to myself, is that even a good fit for a brick film? But yeah, I don't know. There's this weird, like, I still haven't made up my mind as to like, you know, I kind of find myself wishing that other people would make stuff that's like hits really hard. But then I'm like, oh, but of course nobody's going to do that in brick filming. It's brick filming.
Yeah, I feel really comfortable doing stuff like, I think the stuff that I've been doing, which is more, I guess, drama based, but like I don't know, like I've like the Track Attract, which was more like I guess thriller, that kind of thing. I kind of stories I really like sort of doing that are a bit more, I guess, a bit more serious than just like the standard brick film. But I feel like there are certain ways you can do it that they kind of work.
Actually, I feel like I should add onto that point. I'd like to see people do it who they themselves think it's a terrible idea. because sometimes you do see some people attempt certain things and well, yeah, you know how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there has been like a lot of dramatic kind of like serious brick films that like worked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there certainly have been
some, Grace and stuff like that.
Like,
or the River.
Like the River, for example. Like it's kind of like that. There is a lot of that stuff. I think it's just like it's about how you execute it for sure. I think there is like a lot of. I feel like a lot of people who brick film may not have like the ability to do something that hits, you know. But I think if you are someone who like. I don't know. I feel like it's definitely doable if they're like, but it has to be like the right kind of mindset, I think.
Yeah, and also like because most of the people who are doing it are like 13, and most 13-year-olds aren't gonna make anything that's good. Like so, it's like
well, they have like very sort of surface level idea of what's like deep or whatever. Yeah. But I also think as well, like there is a sense of you have to kind of be true to yourself when you make these kind of things, and like I feel like if it's not, you know. If you're not really putting yourself into it, it's probably not going to work. I feel like that way with like, I don't know. I'm sure there are a lot of people who probably couldn't do comedy in the way that like, you know, Sonjira does comedy, if it wasn't like who they are, or like
sense.
the style of comedy or something. If you're trying to force yourself to pretend to be somebody else, I guess.
Because I think it's like with a lot of people, like when they're starting, not just Brickfilm, but just film and animation in general. It's like when you're starting, it's like you're essentially just kind of like trying to mirror or trying to like copy like all the things that like got you into it. And so you have to like keep going and like find out like, okay, what is the stuff that is me that like only like I can do or something like that, versus like, oh, I'm trying to be Quentin Tarantino or something like that, but like I'm just not.
Every
film are not that.
Every film student ever is that. Yeah.
But I was gonna say you'd remember Hazat well.
Oh yeah, Harry.
Boy,
he did a Brickfilm in
Boniari.
2017. I was just trying to think of any examples of the kind of thing I'm talking about. He did one where he was sort of funneling his like feelings at the time into the Brickfilm, and it was executed well in such a way that it wasn't like self-serious and cringeworthy.
that
one
one
was
really
well executed, I thought.
That one works
So
really
it is
well.
possible,
We really do need more like really good just like emo rock brick films, like not even just brick like music videos, just the things that like channel that spirit. Because like when you really get that feeling, like that, it's so good. Like, but I guess, come on, get working on that. If you're listening to this podcast, I want that by my desk by Saturday. Come on now.
Yeah, Harry. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I remember he was definitely like one of the main people that I used to talk to like back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was.
Yeah, on that.
He was very. I have really fond memories of him. Honestly, he's like super cool.
Good egg, yeah, he's good. He's got great taste in music.
Yeah,
I love it on his.
I know he's like I know he's like in Japan now, right?
Yeah,
like
yes. Thriving.
He was one of the core members of our Skype group at the time.
Yeah, he's another one that needs to be on the podcast. On the list.
Cool.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Especially because
that would be really fun to see.
Especially for me, it's great that I get to catch up with people.
This is
it's
your
just like an
personal
excuse. It's
catch-up
just an
podcast.
excuse to catch
Yeah,
up.
like I made a co-production with him in 2009. So yeah,
Oh,
great
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Moronic?
Yeah, VN. Yeah.
I like that one was like insane for me. That one was like
back in our Skype group, we
one-
treated that like the best film ever made at the time. Yeah.
yeah,
Bible.
that was like huge.
Well, yeah, I feel like that one was so it felt so huge because it was like one of the younger crop making something that was on a higher level. So
Yeah,
it was inspirational to
I
us.
remember thinking it was like the funniest thing in the world. I think like now it probably wouldn't hold up.
Yeah,
but
I think
it's,
it kind of, it
at
probably
the time,
doesn't.
it was
So
like
not so much.
Yeah.
it was like at the time it was like what? It's so funny. Oh my gosh! And it's like probably like the most like simple joke in the world. But it was like kind of at the time it's like there's like those kind of simple jokes are still when they're executed well, like in that kind of context, they kind of like hit harder because you're like it's like not something that you're expecting.
Yeah.
I guess it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you look at a lot of like, honestly, it's kind of weird. I feel like comedy has come more into being like more of a thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, but like being more of a thing in brick films and stuff like in the last maybe decade or so. Because when you look, I feel like at like the brickfilms.com era, I feel like it wasn't like as like broadly done.
Yeah.
Is this correct
It's
at all?
kind of like
I feel like
KG
it's
and
more.
Left only.
You're looking at me a certain way, Sean. Say it.
I mean, back then with the dynamic duo era, that was all dialogue.
Yeah. It feels like it was always like that a lot of that like talky stuff.
Oh, yeah, it was
always
super
talky,
and
yeah.
stuff.
I feel like I guess the
Yeah.
style of comedy definitely has changed, and yeah, it was very much like dialogue based. I think there was definitely a lot of comedy then. I think it's there was a lot of like very substantial kind of serious brick films. I think we think of like Grace, and I guess going back further, like
those ones you over as time goes on you like the ones that people keep mentioning are the best things from each year, but there would have been there was endless forgotten dynamic duo films,
Yeah.
so like it's hard to look back and get a full impression of what was going on. So, I would still say that like the vast majority of things going on back then was just two guys talking to each other, and just Blunty-esque or Family Guy-esque.
Has anyone mentioned how I invented Rick and Morty? Has anyone mentioned that?
I think we might have brought that up at some point. Yeah.
I was doing Jeffrey and the Old Man in 2009 or something. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
2009.
Completely.
I invented Rick and Morty.
So
Is-
once again, everything
Where's
everything
my-
comes from Just Kidding.
Basically, yeah.
Where's
honestly.
my award?
$50 million in 7 season horror. Come on.
Come on.
The
animation industry just keeps taking and taking. They
taking.
I mean,
they keep taking
from the
me.
independents.
You know, and then you know, Lord and Miller come along, and then they have their playlist of Just Kidden, and they steal that.
Like,
And they say, make it like this.
Yeah, they're like, make it look like this 14-year-old kid. Let's
Make it
steal
look like
everything.
random things to find while plunging your toilet number 1.
But I just had to Google search the original Doc and Marty by Justin Roiland. It's actually from 2006, so sorry to break it to you.
Do you think I would have seen that?
No, of course not. So we have to give Justin Roiland some credit. It turns out he didn't rip off Jeffrey and the Old Man after all.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a time travel thing, so like he has to have that because you can't lie in movies. So like he has to actually have time travel, right? So he probably did go see the Just Kidden stuff, and then he went and did that.
True.
Honestly,
But yeah,
it's not looking good for Mr. Ryan.
if you had seen Doc and Marty in 08 or 09, your head probably would have exploded, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No, that's what I mean. That would have.
What?
There's a penis.
Yeah, your computer would have been smashed with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
By yourself, like that.
Yeah, by myself, and then again by my dad.
Yeah. What? This parody movie, this stinky flashy movie. Oh hell yeah. Oh my eyes.
I was just thinking that there's a certain question that we actually don't get to ask people very often because we're usually talking to people who've never really stopped being active brick filmers. But do you actually still have Lego with you at all?
Well, I gave most of it to my brother. I still have like a lot of my minifigures and stuff, and like some like loose pieces, and I have like a Seinfeld. I probably have like Jeffrey and the Old Man intact somewhere. I probably have like some of those like characters I used to do. Right now, I'm like kind of obsessed with like making like freak show figures, like up insane looking things, like minifigures who are like these like disgusting freaks. I kind of want to do something with those. I've been really, I don't know. Yeah, I actually back in the day, back in 2017, Frederator had me doing like a Lego City pitch for Lego or something, and me and my friend Isabel.
I remember that.
Yeah, me and my friend Isabel like did this whole like Lego pitch for it.
I've seen the pitch.
I wish I could have done that. Yeah, I wish I could have done that. It was pretty awesome. I was like,
I think it was too interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It was. I think Lego ended up doing like Lego City Undercover or something like that.
Yeah.
That one show, I was like, I really wanted to I wanted to bring it back to like Lego Island kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Like I was like
that is such a
vibe.
I revisited that in Lego Island 2 recently, and it really is like there's just something about it that really gets like the feeling of just being a kid and just being like
I like throwing pizzas at people.
Oh yeah.
I like throwing pizzas at people.
I remember reading your pitch, and I was thinking to myself, this is absolutely awesome. I love this, and this would never get picked up in a billion years.
Yeah. That was what we found out pretty quickly. Like Frederick was like, so what do you think? Hey Lego, what do you think about this? And they're like, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I was like,
So my question, because I forget if you did it, but like if that had happened, would you have wanted it to be like Lego stop motion, or would it?
I probably would have pushed for that for sure. Like that would have been what I don't think they would let me. Probably it'd probably be like too expensive or something. But
to do the stop motion, because they've sort of gone back to doing more stop motion in their promo stuff like that. But I was almost like, would it be interesting to have it be like in like your style at the time?
That would have been awesome.
Almost like,
I mean like
because they don't do that. I can't think of any time that they've done that besides just random like I don't know Flash stuff where they're just moving PNGs or whatever. But like,
yeah, I feel like the Lego movie is the closest they've gotten to anything like substantial like that. Like
that's probably the style.
Even like the Lego movie definitely that style is very cool for sure. Like that. Mm-hmm. I feel like it would be cool if it was like real though.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do kind of, this does come up sometimes in the Discord chats and stuff, and we always say like, if they had known that they were going to do it in stop motion, then the whole concept of the film would have been different.
Yeah, because it's like you couldn't like it was like going that like scale, but at least like it's fun like watching it and being like, oh, that's like an interesting technique or that's like an interesting use of bricks or whatever. Like, oh, I can actually like basically apply that to actual stop motion. I think is at least a cool thing.
If you were to make a brick film now, do you think that you would have to buy a bunch of Lego, or would you do the sets made out of something else? Maybe like what do you think your approach would be?
Well, I feel like I probably could get. I don't know. I feel like I definitely retained like some bricks. Like I feel like I could probably make a set. I don't know for sure. I feel like it might be fun to do like a physical set made out of something else, and then like do like brick like little like minifigures or something. I feel like I'd have to like figure it out. I feel like right now I have like the Seinfeld one's the most substantial thing, but yeah, generally it's like
that would be a pretty success.
Yeah,
that'd be very on brand.
The idea if you returning to Brickfilm with just a Seinfeld Brickfilm in the Seinfeld house, that's really funny to me.
Man. Yeah, maybe I could repurpose the bricks though, is what I'm thinking.
All I'm saying is that, speaking from experience, making Lego movies with the minimum amount of Lego possible is like the coolest thing that you can do. It is the most cool thing you can do.
Kind of how I did it back in the day too. I was like, I feel like if you look at all my stuff, it was like, because my family wasn't like able to buy me that much, so I was like it was kind of just like really sparse like sets that had like very minimal design or anything.
It's like big tan walls.
And, I remember people would kind of like be like at first I think people like would judge that kind of harshly for some reason.
And then, for sure.
And then as it got on, I feel like people kind of were like, oh, that's not the point of it.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, I feel like all of our set design was super basic back then.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember. I don't think anyone ever said anything to me. I think I probably just assumed that it was like not cool to like have like sparse sets or something.
I mean, it's like similarly, like how I said that Mind Game was kind of doing good animation before everyone else. Nathan Wells was doing good sets before everyone else, and that was about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like. But yeah, and it's also just like once you have like a good like story that has just like good content, I feel like the sets like honestly just like disappear. Like I mean maybe it's because like I'm like older and I can like look past that, because I feel like when I was a kid I'd be like, I need to have like the best sets, I need to have, and then I look back on them now and I'm like, those were dog. What was I thinking? But like but like once like like your films are just like other good films, it's like even if like the sets are like so spare, it's like okay, like they almost serve the comedy a lot of the time, or it's just like you don't even notice it because you're so interested in just the actual thing that's happening before your eyes.
Definitely the movement on mine were probably like the most like interesting thing to look at. I feel like if I had like detailed sets and I was doing like what I was doing, it probably would have been like hard to focus or something, because it's like
it almost distract.
Like it's like the sparseness kind of like allows you to pay attention to like the movement more a little bit.
I mean, it's like with like Looney Tunes and stuff like that, where it's like you look at the backgrounds and they're just like a lot of times it's just like abstract watercolors.
I do think
that
though,
helps,
like if you could look at like comparing it to the stuff you do now, it's kind of similar in a way that you don't have like absolutely massively detailed backgrounds. You have like interesting backgrounds, but it's not like that's the centerpiece of
But yeah, it is pretty similar. Actually, you're right. Yeah.
I assume you're aware of the UPA animation.
Yeah, I love UPA.
I used to hate UPA, and then I'm like, yo, really? This is lit. Like, no, because it was in that weird phase where I was like, it's really like jerky, and like they're really lazy. Like, come on. Why didn't they just spend like $70 million more? Like, but now I'm just like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I get more inspired by really like jerky, like quote unquote animation than I do like really like good like flowy.
Yeah, like when it's another thing where if I have the opportunity, I like to tell people, hey, you should check out UPA stuff. Maybe draw some influence from that.
Random aside on the just the background things, barely related to anything, but like one of the ones that always like stands out to me is it's from the Earth is flat, and it's like at the end there, and it's like I think there's this one where it's like there's all these like mountains and stuff coming up, and there's that other one with like the like it's like a CGI waterfall or something. Like who did the CGI waterfall? Because that always sticks in me.
That was this guy Ben Riker, who I was friends with my first year at Cal Arts. And he did that for free. He was like super sweet about it. I was just like, I don't know how to. I feel like they're just like I was like, there's a shot I want to do at the end, but I have no idea how to execute it. And I was like, I'm like thinking maybe CGI, because I feel like they'll make it look kind of crazy or something. And he was like, oh, I'll do it. I'll do it for you. Awesome. Yeah. And I was like, oh, what? Cool. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And he like kind of whipped it up really quickly, and I was like, oh, that's
like
awesome.
that is like you could put like that is like I feel like that like style is just like so like predictive of a lot of the stuff that you like see now. And it works really well in the context of the film, because that's like you're a second.
Yeah, and then I think with like the VHS effect on it, I feel like it made it look really specific, like in a way where it kind of like scratches a certain itch, you know, like where if you had just kind of seen that shot without the VHS, I like it probably wouldn't be that impressive or anything. But I think something about it, like with like kind of the surrealness of like it kind of shaking and everything, I was like, it really works. I think
it is
which
like
is cool.
that whole movie is like a vibe on like a lot of levels, like because like that one just really tickles me with the mixture of the stop motion.
I like how it's Flat Earth Wikipedia article came up as like a with it, you know.
Didn't a channel like a Flat Earth channel like steal that video and re-upload it?
Yeah, they were like interesting flat Earth animation.
Very fascinating.
Yeah, I wanted to ask: is there any sort of story behind? It seems like your films have a sort of interest with like conspiracy theories or cult-like behavior, like in Barber as well. You know, space isn't real and the Earth being flat and stuff. Like, I don't know what's going on with that.
I was kind of raised with conspiracy theories. It was kind of like my parents kind of believed in them more than like reality, you know. So it was like something that I was just kind of raised with, and then and kind of continuing into adulthood, they're still kind of obsessed with that kind of thing. And then also, so yeah, I kind of already have like a radar for it, you know, like kind of like looking for it. I was like, when I did Earth is Flat, that was like not that, it didn't blow up at that point. It was kind of like, it was something that was kind of way more fringe than it is now. Like, like people were not aware of it as much as they are now. There's like mostly just like Facebook groups and like YouTube videos I was finding. And I was remember my interest in it was like, because like emotionally the idea really connected with me, but obviously I knew it wasn't true because I had like been on a plane before and stuff, you know? Like, so it's kind of like it was just this contradictory feeling of like, you know, like emotionally the idea of the Earth being flat kind of resonates with me, where I'm like I kind of feel like if I look over there, it does look flat, you know, like I do feel that, right? Like, but then it was like, but also just I know that. Yeah,
so it's true. Like you can understand how people come to these strange conclusions despite knowing that they're not true. I mean, you know that not true.
Yeah, that's the thing is like, because again, I was like raised with like Obama was born in Kenya and like. You know, like when Obama gets elected, that's when the end times are going to start. So we have to move to Kansas City so that we can escape like the end times. Like, you know, like that kind of thing. Like, so it's like, or, you know, like vaccines will kill you. Like,
it's like before that was mainstream.
Before it was mainstream.
Yeah. So that was like, again, like kind of just something I was around a lot. And then Barber stuff is kind of an exaggeration of my childhood. Like, again, like the dad, like my dad was kind of like, he believed in a lot of like really fringe Christianity stuff. And, you know, I feel like he would have started a cult if he had like the opportunity to. I feel like if he had people who believed in what he believed in, but nobody did, because it was like he had like a lot of very specific things that were all mismatched that he like kind of just brought together into one.
That is most things, though, right? That is most of those, right? That's basically you.
But it was really specific. It was really specific stuff. Like kind of like spiritual warfare, like kind of crazy stuff about like you know, just stuff that was really, really kind of bonkers. And out there, like not what happens in like normal churches, right? Like it's like completely like like rewriting everything to make it really like sexual and strange and whatever. Anyway, so and, you know, and it was very kind of like traumatizing in a way to be around that. But anyway, so kind of in Barber, it's only slightly exaggerated in that they have like a building for it and that it's not like Jesus, it's like something else,
like
you know.
Thing,
but it kind of like, again, like with even like the intro where Barber's talking about the plane stuff, that was just something that was real for me, where I was like, I moved to an apartment that was like next to an airport, and I like every day like tons of planes would be flying overhead, and every time I would like have a reaction where I would have a panic attack, and I'd be like and then after a while I was like, why is this happening so much all the time? Like I'm like having all these panic attacks. And it happened every time like I heard a plane noise, and I was like, "Oh, is it like?" Cause I realized that it had been happening for years. I just never noticed it because it would happen, you know, very sporadically. But then living next to an airport made me realize it, and then that was why that you know. So there's like a lot of stuff like that where it's like these are things that I've experienced. Like Goodbye Favorite Party is about, you know, having DID, which I had for a long time when I was a kid too. I think there's you know, had been disassociating for like a very, very long time in like a very intense way. So then Goodbye Favorite Party is kind of like about being in that space and like kind of being in this like, and so was Barber. In a way, Barber is also about that. And, there's Essentia is... That one's also very personal, like a way. It's kind of hard to totally explain without getting too much into like the details, obviously. But it's like, like a lot of that stuff is like, again, like I have a genuine interest in it because I resonate with it a lot. Like Heaven's Gate, I really resonated with. But that's kind of it. It just a lot of it is very kind of just sincere interest in things, and then also reflections on my life and stuff.
Especially I find it interesting you mentioned doing the one about the earth being flat before that was like mainstream on the internet, because I feel like we're seeing that more and more just over the last like 5 or 6 years. Like it's like people, you can sort of see in real time people's minds being poisoned by like weird ideas and weird YouTubers. Like I can remember seeing screen caps of, like the original Q posts on 4chan, and like and people just laughing at them. Like,
dude, when that was happening, my mom was like texting me and being like, make sure you download all your videos and make sure that you save everything because the internet is going to go down because Trump is going to go and arrest all the big celebrities like Tom Hanks. So the internet is going to go away and you might lose all your files. I'd be like, like I don't think that's going to happen. Like she's like, COVID is a hoax to arrest Ellen and Tom Hanks. And I'm like, okay.
When I saw them, it was just in the context of like, look at this guy LARPing on 4chan. It's so funny. It's just a big joke, And then a few months later, it's like mainstream news. And people actually believing it.
Have you seen the documentary on it?
No, I haven't.
The Storm, I think it is. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I saw like a lot of things talking about like the weird people behind it, right? Because I assume it goes into like those dudes who like took it over or something with like their tweets or whatever, something. Yeah, like
isn't there also like a thing of like how some groups like Q have kind of they've brought in a variety of different conspiracy theories, like flat earthers and stuff, and it's almost become just this one thing.
Yeah. Because that was just the interesting thing you talking about like your father's stuff and that, because really that is what it feels like a lot of times. It feels like it's sort of a mishmash, but in the end it's just sort of like it's so much stuff, and it's attracting like people who don't know like what's going on or feel like the like things are like spiraling out for them, and like just needing to sort of latch on to something like that. Because that was one thing that really struck me with Essentia watching that this morning, is like I don't know, I guess just like because people talk about this a lot with your work, but just how much like empathy it has for the people like who like sort of like get into that, because like because at the end of it it's something of just like feeling like you're lonely or feeling like you don't have something that you like can look forward to, and so like having this big like alien thing and this big alien like cult, at the end of it it's just like there's still like people there, and it's people who
that is
friends.
True. I mean, like, I think we've even with a lot of these people, when you see the weird conspiracies and weird things they're talking about, like the way they talk, you can tell that they're kind of miserable people.
Yeah, like you can tell it's just really like sad, and it's just like they just need a boy. They just need somebody to watch some Leica movies with. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that's kind of like with Essentia, like that's the emotional core of that is like Mira and Salisa's relationship, I think. And I always knew that was personal, but I never really thought about it until I really kind of thought about where all those ideas were coming from. And I was realizing that like, like at the end, like, and like my partner in high school, who I actually made one of my last Brickfilms with, like when they came into my life or whatever, it was like I had been in this like kind of this kind of like dark, dismal situation for like a long time, and then kind of finally met someone who kind of like understood me and like kind of would like listen to me and like support me in like a real way. And I remember like that was really like a really kind of thing for me that was really crazy in like a good way, but then something kind of like there's some stuff that happened with my parents where they like like I don't know, so I was kind of like thinking, like when I look back on the impulse to make Essentia, I was like oh wow, okay. Because it's like there's like, because my parents, as you know, they were very overly protective and kind of in a crazy way. And so they did some stuff with that relationship that kind of made it end pretty abruptly. And so I ended up, because I was still in high school, obviously when that happened. And then, so like with Essentia, there's like this kind of like underlying current of like, like that kind of relationship to like that, the cult and everything. And then like their relationship being in the center of it. kind of outside of it, and then like also, you know, they get like, and it's like this weird like like it was just kind of something that was inside of me that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't know that I wanted to talk about it because I repressed it super hard. Because then when all this stuff happened, I started repressing everything that I felt or thought, because like, you know, it's like how else can you handle it when you're just living with the people who did that to you, you know? So it's like, you know, the only way to kind of deal with it is to like disassociate, really. And that's what I found out when I look at like a lot of like studies on this stuff, is like for kids who kind of have to deal with stuff like this, it's like disassociation becomes the only way to get out, because like you're in a situation that you can't escape technically, so you start to disassociate. And it's kind of, so yeah, it's just kind of weird to like look back on a lot of that work that I was making, kind of processing all of that in real time without fully being aware of it. And then with Barber, it was like this crazy experience where I got to the end of that, and I was like, and all of a sudden it kind of all clicked, where I was like, oh, like this is this, this is this, this is this, and it like kind of blew my mind, because it gave me like an existential crisis, because I was like, I wasn't trying to write about that. That wasn't what I wanted to write about, but I did, and now it's there. Now all these people are watching it, and it was like a very scary thing.
It feels so revealing when you look at that, because I've had that with some of mine, where I'm just like, wait, like gooey goats? Wait, that was what? Like, what the fuck? Like, just like, or something like that. You just like, you feel like you just like
totally
just spit all this stuff out, and you're just like, I hope that like made sense, like emotionally, or at least like narratively to other people, because that was just like all of this stuff that's been spitting in my head, and I didn't really like deal with, you know.
I am such a huge gooey goat stan. I programmed for Slam Dance, and I was like trying to get them to accept it. I was like, I gave like a dissertation. I was like, you have to like gooey goats in. Like gooey goat is like, I was like trying to, I don't know. I was like, I was sad.
Wow, I did not know that. That is amazing, because that was like that was my first time ever like trying to actually like submit to film festivals that weren't like tabletop convention. Submit any whatever the and then they'll let you in.
Like, I think a part of it was that I was aware of your previous work. I don't think I ever talked to you that much when we were like kids or anything, because I feel like you might have been like not a part of like the group that I was a part of or something. I
think we had an overlap at certain points, because there was one.
But Sonjira is a little bit later,
like a little bit later, Like there was at least some parts where I think we were in like a Skype group. I think. Like,
like I definitely was aware of you. I think, but I think it was probably like a similar thing of like kind of like Zach and Nathan or something, like that kind of era of people. And then when I came in, like it was like they were kind of like their own group already, and then like I slowly formed like a group of people who were like around when I was, you know. But yeah, I think like I definitely was like aware of your work. So when I saw Gooey Goats, I was like, oh my god, like I need to get this in.
Oh, so did they were like, so you saw it before I even like posted it publicly, because I submitted that. Wow, that's crazy. That's so.
Oh, I was super.
That's interesting, because I remember you were on it when I submitted it to it came out for the Portland Festival. Like you were like, yo, let's. And I was like, whoa, nice. Like, did they just like buy a ticket?
Yeah.
Like, but that's lit.
I just have my sneaky ways of.
You got that thing, So. But that was like an interesting experience for me, because I know you've had like definitely like time with like doing the whole film festival thing, because especially when you go into college, they're like, that is what you're doing, baby. Like I'll do that. Like I was definitely like happy at least that I got into some of the ones that I did, but it was also bittersweet because of the pandemic. So I'm just like, I'm just watching on my computer like every film that I release and stuff like that. But it's also just like the fickleness of like, you know, I'm trying to make stuff that's true to me, which is also, you know, what they say to do to get into the festival. But then also you're like, well, there's also like, you got to program for which festivals like your and like, you know, which ones want kind of stuff like that. And I'm just like, this is so much to do to like try to like, you know, basically like, you know, to just in the end be doing the same thing if I was trying to make like commercial work or something, you know. It's just it's a
I'm pretty like I need to put everything I make
you
on
a
YouTube.
YouTuber, you're a bit of a tuber, yeah. So like,
because I think it is just rooted in brick filming. Like that's what I've been doing since I was a kid. So like I have that impulse to like I just want to throw it on YouTube, you know.
Because the wait is agonizing.
That definitely, but I think it throws film festivals off. But what's cool is now that like I've like kind of established myself and my work is like very good. You know? Like people are like, like this is good, you know, like. Now people just kind of like reach out to me, so I don't have to submit to anything anymore. And I'm like, if you want it, take it, but like I'm not gonna take it down or anything. So it kind of like what's cool is like that's kind of working for me now, like slowly.
Hell yeah.
But like before, it was like, you know, it was definitely hard because I think Slam Dance was the only festival. Like Slam Dance and a few others were like the only places that took a chance on me. But yeah, it was like very. it was like kind of a hard thing to break into. Yeah. And like still like I don't really get into festivals often unless they like ask me directly.
Which feels just like crazy to me because like I know it's just festival politics and stuff like that, but I'm just like and then not to put anything.
My feeling is also like the crowd at film festivals are way different than YouTube audiences. Yeah. Like that is not the same at all. Like that's what I say at Slam Dance when I program. Is like you know like the audience of Slam Dance is just different than like people who are watching on YouTube. Like it's just different. Like you're not gonna have like we're gonna accept Essentia into like the features program there, and they're like, oh, it's on YouTube, so we can't. But I'm like, okay, literally like the kids watching this on YouTube are not gonna be at Slam Dance. Like it's like like it is just a completely different it's a completely different world.
Exactly.
Like
it's like
and that's to me. I'm like I feel like it's a part of like you know like to me I'm like I feel like I've developed like an audience over time that's like very specific, and I feel like the natural progression of it is that like kind of individuals find it, and like that's really important to me is like because like a lot of the things that are really important to me are things that I just kind of randomly found on YouTube, you know, like when I was a kid. So it's like to me I'm like I want to be something like that. Like I want like random kids to find this and have it speak to them in like a real way, you know, like in a very like sincere way.
Because that's the hard thing with festivals. You're just like you know it's like how many people are going to see this, and it's like how many like you know like how many people is it going to miss in the time that like you know it wasn't able to come out on YouTube, who could find it, and like you know because I love seeing the comments of people just being like, wow, I haven't seen anything like this before. Like that's the like this.
Yeah, with film festival it's like okay, you're gonna have like 20 people in a room, like you're gonna have like 20 people like who were like film snobs watching this in a room, whereas YouTube is like thousands and thousands of people who all have very extremely different backgrounds, and that to me is way more appealing than like a stuffy film festival crowd, right? Like but also I recognize that crowd is also necessary to an extent. So it's like to me I'm like I just want to have both, and I feel like that if people were less like snobby about it would be fine, but it's like you know so I'm just waiting for everyone to kind of like catch on, you know?
Cow, come on now.
Yeah. But you know, speaking of things we find on YouTube that resonate with us, perhaps we should start talking about the Brickfilm Showcase.
The showcase, hell yes, let's go. Oh.
For those of you new to the podcast, the Brickfilm Showcase is an opportunity for each of us to talk about brick films that either mean a lot to us or that we just want to talk about in general. Yeah, actually, so I'll start off actually because the funny thing is this is the first time that we've ever had someone on the podcast that we're actually got a film in the showcase as well. And the funny thing is we were me and Joni, we were talking on Gmail yesterday about the picks, and I ended up picking Birdface and Birdface's origins, and then you kind of suggested that Sonjira come along and join us as well.
And here I am.
Yeah, I definitely again I felt like it felt like kind of natural to make some like I feel like Ben definitely kind of furthered whatever I was doing.
I was so like, yo, that touched my heart. I was like, oh, that's so nice. Like I was really so sweet.
What really strikes me as funny with the Birdface is me and Penta were saying this last night. It's like you could post this now, and the only thing that people would find off about it is that it's 16 by 9.
What? And then and it isn't because hold up, like because the thing that I have to be sure about is still a thing.
Oh yeah, it's stretched. Yeah,
it's stretched because I shot it in 4x3, and there used to be a thing on YouTube where it's like you could like do like a code injection with the tags where you do like YT equals stretch 16 by 9 or something like that. Because I uploaded it in 4x3, and then I was like, oh no, it's not modern. And so I found out you could do that. And so I did that, and now I can't like undo it. I don't think. I think like it's literally stuck like that. So that is how it's just stretched. Like it looks so dog. But anyway, yeah. That is funny.
Adds to the charm.
Oh.
And hold on, Ben, you're vegan, yes?
Yes. I'm vegan.
We're both vegan.
I was wondering if you were still, if that was on.
I'm vegan for life. I've been vegan for a year, and I'm never going back.
It makes me feel so good. You know what? I used to be like a little kind of scared to talk about it, and I know people are gonna be like, oh, whatever. But you know what? That you wonder why there's so many beans in my. That's why there are the beans in there, because I think about it a lot.
Birdface is the only thing is just so vegan, you know.
Really?
It's a thing only a vegan can make.
Really? I was gonna ask you to elaborate, but
no,
I would not. I didn't know it yet. That was literally like almost
the
like
vegans will know.
The vegans will know.
Yeah, if you're vegan, you'll know Birdface.
He's coming.
You'll know what you know. You'll know.
Also, I'm actually just gonna say I actually went into the thing while we were talking, and then I realized that the tag was still there, and so I removed the tag, and so now it's back to normal. I don't know if that was a good thing or not, but I had to just look at that. So I've changed history. Apologies.
Oh my god.
So now it's. I didn't realize I could still do that because
I just refreshed it and suddenly it's 4x3 and it looks,
oh my
it
god!
looks wrong.
It looks right. Yeah.
Come on.
YT stretch equals. Oh fuck, man. Okay, I'll look up the code later to change it back because it does kind of look weird. It does kind of look weird not looking dog. But anyway,
so
yes.
What were you thinking when you made Birdface? Where were you at the time?
So I was it was the summer right before 8th grade, which was probably the worst year of school that I ever had. I had never been as lonely before as I had been at that point. But it was like, I had just gotten off the kick of like first finally starting to make brick films. Yeah. And so I was just on the thing of just like making something like every like two days or something like that. And I don't know what it was. I was just trying to think of just like, I don't know, stuff to do. And I thought it would just be funny if there was just like a superhero who came in and then literally just what happens in the video happens. I was literally just like, I just opened up Audacity and I just like did that all in like a couple of takes. And like it was the most like feverish like way that I made something like, I don't know, since like, you know, stuff I would do way later. Like, I don't know, I feel like Pico was made in a similar fit of just like, yo, I'm just vibing.
I love Pico.
Pico is a modern classic already.
Yeah, and I
Pico
know
is
it.
so
dude.
freaking
I
good.
freaking know it. Dude. But it's like, but like I was just like rolling with it, and then I think once I like found these couple of pieces like together, and I was just like, yo, that's like a face. Like so, I just like put that all together, and then. Yeah, it's just like I mean, it just kind of came together. It's hard for me to even like say because there really wasn't like a lot of like thought into it.
That's what's striking about this is that the stuff the stuff you made before it is basically just tests, and then this one is just instantly the switch over into this like this comedic voice that you can still detect in what you're making now.
That's interesting, yeah, because it feels so remote now, and we'll talk about it with the other one with the origin film. But like I feel like it feels like. A lot of times feels very remote to me because I'm just like, oh wow, that was how I was like in freaking the 7th grade. It sounds like my dad, and it's just like so verbose and like so many words. I don't know, like if that makes sense. Like it just feels like so many words, and I'm just like, shut up, dude. Like you're talking too much. What the? But like, yeah.
I feel like Birdface it feels closer to what you're making now than Birdface Origins does.
That. How so? Elaborate on that. I'm curious what you think.
I remember when Birdface Origins came out, I think I kind of disliked it greatly.
Yeah. Awesome! Hell yes!
I felt it was trying too hard with the like also random humor. It's like the first one is so authentic. It's like this is just it's just straight pulled from your mind in like you know this fit of madness. But then Birdface Origins, it's like now you're trying hard to capture something, and then it feels like you had to get over that. You know, it's like that thing they say about like experience and like knowledge or whatever, and you have to cross that gap. It's like nowadays you're sort of a master of your craft. You know.
Oh, don't get me too high off my own sop.
You know what I mean? As far as crafting the comedy, and it doesn't feel like it's trying too hard to be lol so random.
Oh yeah, because it was like I definitely had the feeling of like because I think besides like I don't know like flying low or whatever stuff, that was like I just remember like feeling like at least in my brain like a lot of pressure to be like, oh, I need to like surpass this. I want to make something that's like crazy and big and like just like going off with it. Did you introduce in this section that your pick was also Birdface Origins, or did we?
Oh, I think we're just talking about both of them at the same time.
I guess we're just talking about both at the same time, but
and I think William, you were like Birdface and Birdface Origins.
Origins. So we're talking about both of them, but like, I definitely felt like I really just wanted to with that one just make like the biggest thing that I made so far. Like the script is huge, and I got like literally like every single
It's 13 minutes long.
It's like, yeah, it's 13 minutes long. And then later I'm like, how the fuck did I make something longer than this that's also stop motion? Like, what is going on? What is wrong with me? But it's like, but like, yeah, I got like literally every single friend that was in my life at that time to voice into that, maybe plus or minus one or something like that, which there's some interesting facts about that. I definitely, when I was watching it today, I was like, oh, like there's definitely some jokes in that where I'm just like, ugh, like, but there's also some that makes me roll. Like, I don't know why, but the thing that got me is when like they're trying to like they're doing like the torture of Birdface at the beginning or whatever, and then like I don't know if this is funny to anyone else, but like they have the one guy who comes in to talk about potatoes or something like that, like that dude who's my friend Robert. And I don't know why, but there's this quick shot where like he throws in the table, and then he fades in. He just like fades in, and then there's this really synthy like sound effect that lasts like 0.75 seconds, and that made me laugh like a motherfucker when I was watching that today. Like that felt like very like something a joke that I would make today versus like the really like super talky humor or something.
I do like the Potato Man. That's funny. And you know when he hits the potato, it's like.
Yeah. that tickled me pink. That tickled me very pinky. So I can definitely, I feel like I have a better relationship with that, because I definitely think for a little while that like that was definitely the first time I got people going like, I just like don't like this dog. Like and I got good reviews. Like it felt like the thing that you were talking about with like the late 2000s and stuff, where people were just being like, yo, this kind of like sucks a little bit, like, you know. And I was like really scared to like show other people. Like I think also, my uncle, I showed it to my uncle, and he's like, I think you need to figure out like who you're making movies for or something, because this just isn't like and I was like, bro, damn. But like I think it was just like an important stepping stone for me to like really like
it's always nostalgic for me when there's these Brick films that seem to have everyone from the community in that very specific point in time voicing in them. And Jeffrey and the Old Man, the Airplane Murder Mystery one is another one where it's like everyone in there is a signature figure of a Brick filmer. Yeah.
It's all of that.
It's so, I don't know, it's so cute, that thing. Like it's like cute to remember like the sig fig stuff. Like it's like kind of throwing like your friends in there and stuff. It's just like very sincere. I remember like in Amphibian Appendages, they have like the chef throw Darkman into like a pot or something. Or I think like Philippe or something. Like he's also in there. There's like a bunch of like there's always like people who I was talking to, or people that I admired or whatever in those, and it's like it's like something you won't recognize unless you were part of the community for sure. But it's like it's really just like a really cute thing.
I know what you mean. Like I could look at that film and I could name everyone just by their sig fig in the video.
It's really cute.
It's like a time capsule.
It is
the time.
Just nostalgic.
We hella nostalgic over here. But the other thing that I like to bring up when Birdface Origins happens now, and I feel like I've talked about it privately, but I never fucking talked about it publicly. But the thing that's just like, it's just weird to me. I don't know if it resonates with anybody else, but like, there's one point where it's like two characters like sitting in a hallway, just I don't know, saying like commenting about all the weird shit that's happening in elementary school or something like that. And it's Harrison Allen, and then the person that Harrison Allen is fucking talking to was it was a friend of mine from journalism class in high school. whose name is Kat Tenbarge, and who is the person who last year freaking like now they have a Wikipedia page because they were the ones who brought down freaking David Dobrik with that whole like crazy expose and stuff like that.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, I have that, and they're just in my stupid brick film. Like, that's weird. how does that connect? So anyway, it's funny. They really chill. They're doing good stuff over at NBC right now. Good old influencer journalism, but.
I'm looking at How to Be a Baseball Superstar right now. And I'm like,
how's that vibing with you?
Dude, like, how are you even doing this?
I don't know. That was supposed to be a THAC entry. I was supposed to do that in THAC, and then I realized I was stupid. Dude, so, yeah, that one...
It rules.
That one I really, really, like, enjoyed, because that just feels like... I really liked doing something that was so, like, short. Because I always feel like all the ideas I have are, like stupid, like, 8-minute things, and it's like, I like doing that, but it takes... forever.
Yeah, all your stuff is so like Like all the multiplane stuff, like just blows my mind to like even like,
No.
cause it's like on another level than like even normal animation, you know, like it's like another level for Brickfilms, and then another level for like animation in general. Like how like I can't imagine anyone doing something like this, like generally, like in like the animation world. It's like so crazy.
Warms my guzzards. Yeah.
It's like I wish people were doing this like more. Like I'm like trying to like. It's like nobody will take like a Brickfilm serious though. Unfortunately, I feel like in like art world, you know, like I'm like. Me trying to say everybody pay attention to a brick film, everyone's like, that's a Lego movie. So I'm like, okay, but it's cool though. Like like it's still animation.
Oh yeah. Like,
I feel like the style is
kind
kind of strong enough that it does it can break that barrier, because like it did I'll Never Be Lonely Again did really well on Newgrounds among just general
it did well on Newgrounds,
and on
did well on TikTok. Like like I was really happy just seeing like that
one is
incredible. That's the best Brickfilm last year,
so
as far as I'm concerned.
that's a hard competition, bro, with yourself. Come on.
I think you should keep doing Brickfilms forever. I think you're a genius at them. But it's like, I think also it would be cool to see this like kind of taken mainstream or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me, like as like Sony's like in the experimental animation world to some extent, and also just like in general, it's like no one's doing anything like this, you know?
Like
across the board, it's like so bonkers.
But yeah, like it's just been really fun, messing with this whole like multiplane thing, because I feel like after I did Gooey Goats, like I was just so into that, and I was just like, and I really I'm still very into that, but it was just like, it felt like going so far like out of that world. It was almost hard for me while I was doing it to even imagine like, what am I gonna do like with another brick film? Like what like I don't know, I was trying to figure like, what do I want to do that like would make me feel. Because I feel like, you know, I like I said, I love doing brick films, but it's like, I feel like it needs to be a story, just a thing that I feel like I just need to tell, and something that medium calls to me. And then once I was doing Pico with Brawl, I was just like, oh, wow, like, this is like, just like, and that was like from just an amalgamation of random influences where I got the idea to do the whole multiplane thing. But it was just like, I don't know, I was just like, wow, I don't think I've seen a thing like this like before, and I don't know if this is gonna freaking work, but like it really like just sort of lit a fire in me, both just on the brick film side but just in film in general, because I felt like very lost, like, you know, graduating into the pandemic, and like, you know, nothing that like I thought was gonna be happening was happening. I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and then just doing that and feeling like, oh, I have something that like feels like at least it's something I can go towards. I feel like something that I can work on and like, you know, inform my artistic practice in a lot of different ways. Like, so
yeah, it's definitely like extremely like impressive and inspiring. Like it makes me like wish I was doing something similar, even though I don't want to rip you off or anything. I'm just like, I wish I was like doing something that's like this, because it's so exciting. Like it's like honestly like one of the things I've gotten excited about in animation so long as like the multiplane Lego stuff you're doing. Like it's like
I get the same feeling
like where it's like actually
when I watch it, I'm like, I wish I made
like,
this. It's so good.
Yeah. For real.
But it's like, man, like the freaking like Wasteland. Just watching that again, like, because that definitely impressed me when I first saw it. But I feel like it has the same feeling where I'm just like, this is drawing off of stuff like that I've seen like before, that is like familiar. I mean, I guess it's like, you know, it's 2D animation, so it's a little bit more like connected, I guess, versus like the Lego whatever I don't know. But it's just like it just feels so like exciting, because it feels like it's just something that's going on its own terms and is really just like firing, and it's just vibing on its all, because it just feels like so good.
I wish my teacher said that.
That teacher is a moron. I gotta say,
my grad review was like, okay, so imagine you make Essentia, which is like a 45-minute long traditionally animated thing that's like more ambitious than anything that's ever been made in the history of like the best animation school in the world or whatever. It's like the most ambitious thing that's been completed probably ever. I can't think of anything else that was as ambitious as Essentia was. And then my teacher was like, in my grad review, literally the last time he ever spoke to me, he's like, the editing's not very good. The editing is kind of bad.
It's like
and then like my other teacher is like, you should read this one book about cults. And I was like, okay. And then my film teacher was really awesome about it, but it was kind of just like, can anyone
just like reckon with
see
this?
That
like,
is it like, isn't it crazy that I even did this? Like, is there any like? But there's like no one really cared. It was just like,
I was gonna...
now obviously like all their students know me, and everyone's like going in with like, oh, you know, Joni Phillips went here and now did Essentia or whatever.
They've cursed themselves because they'll never hear the end of it. Like,
that kind of sounds like the story of your life, doesn't it? It's like what you were saying about Dylan Woodley not liking amphibian appendages.
It's just like every time I do it, everyone's like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck?" And then everyone else is like, "Oh my god!"
And then years later, we're like, "Oh yeah, we all loved Amphibian Appendages when it came out."
Yeah.
Yo, it was freaking lit.
We all were huge Just Kidden fans.
I have to ask
and then,
before
in
we-
reality, you're like, "This kid's annoying as hell." Shut up.
But
Be quiet.
before we move on to the next ones, I do have to ask, as someone who has experience doing a stupidly overambitious thesis film that should not should not have had time to complete in the time to do, how the did you make Essentia in like one school year, right? Because I assume it was just in that one school year. How the did that happen?
Well,
'Cause I kind of feel like I know the answer, but I just want to hear you talk like through it.
I spent a year writing it with my friends. Well, I did the animatic for like a year, and my friends Jenna and In helped me kind of put the story together and stuff. They were more like involved with like kind of pre-conceptualizing everything and kind of helping me get everything in a more fleshed out place. We'd meet every week, and then Jenna wrote like the songs that Mira sings, and like they both kind of provided inspiration for the characters and stuff.
Yeah.
Those songs got me.
And then kind of what happened was I used my third year to do that, and then my fourth year I animate everything, and I had a team of some of my really close friends. I like got them like all like 3 credits each, like which was basically like a whole class for the semester. I did like independent study thing. I really milked the system. Sorry to use a non-vegan term.
I'll allow it.
I really milked the system. I was like, yeah. So they were, after I did that, they were like, "We're never letting anyone do that ever again." I was like, "Okay, well." But yeah, no, it was really awesome. It was like my friends are awesome to work with. And it was a really like smooth system. Whereas like my friend Jeanette came up with like the coloring idea, where it's like we colored on top of the frames with like watercolor and gouache. So everything in the movie is like hand painted basically, like by a bunch of like individual artists who have all of their own styles and stuff. And then and then the guest animation, like again, it was me cranking all this stuff out, like really going crazy.
It's always what it is.
It's insane that it happened for sure. Like I don't understand how I did it even now. Like even like Barber, I'm like, okay, like that just went by and now it's done. Like you know, it's like even though I just finished it, I'm like, huh?
What?
You know, it's just you just kind of have to just work and then it just
I
goes
do want to
away.
say as well, the music in Barber is excellent throughout.
Thank you. Yes.
It's amazing. I loved it. Yeah, like them.
Stands out so much,
especially like that last song at the end. It's just
Shout
like
outs Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan Kanner. Yeah, Dylan is my friend. Who I've known since high school.
Really?
Since around the time when I stopped doing Brickfilms, I think is when I met him. And he did we worked together on this film I made in high school. A long time ago, he did a song for that, and then he worked on Goodbye for a Party again. He did that song at the end, and he did a song for Essentia. And then when I started working on Secrets and Lies, I was like, "Do you want to just do all the music?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And then on Barber, I was like, we'll push it even more." And I tried to pay him the best I could and everything, and he banged it out. He did it so well.
It just it fits the film so well.
Yeah, no, I think it's because we're from the same place, and we both have a lot of similar experiences and stuff, and I think we both kind of want to talk about similar things, and we're both very and again, we've known each other for so long that I think he has a very good kind of grasp on what I'm looking for and what I want and everything, and I think at this point it's when we work together, it's really just easy. But yeah, the ending song that you mentioned, it's that was, I think I ranted for 2 hours or something because in my apartment, I'm like, it's gotta be a song about what it means to be a bird. It's it has to be it's what is it actually like? And I was like, look at all these videos. What is it like? And he was like, what if we just did we sing, we fly, we eat? I was like, oh, I love that. And then he wrote the rest. I was like, and we figured it out in the moment. It was a very crazy. And then me and Lindsay DeMars and Maddie Brewer do the background singing in that song. Lindsay does the voice of Margaret, and then Maddie does the voice of Dakaya in the series. And there's Oh, and she also sings that Mare song. She's the
singing voice. Yeah. That is so neat.
That final the song in the final episode of that series is so good as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that one was one Dylan was just sitting on. He was just like, I think it fits. And I was like, yeah, oh yeah, it does. It's really good. And then he like rewrote it for the series, and it was like, he's also like a powerhouse, like really awesome. He's doing music for Victoria now, which is awesome. He's doing music for like a lot of different people.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
So he's I think he's getting more into the scoring world, which is awesome because I want him to.
Absolutely.
I'm sure he'll succeed based on Barber. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like with Barber, it's like I feel like he didn't really have an opportunity to do something as expansive as he did for Barber before. But he obviously has such an insane knack for it that it's like I feel like he can only keep going up. It's like so exciting.
Yeah, composers are like a lot of just like unsung heroes because it's just like there's so much that works in the story, but when you have that like perfect backing where someone who just really gets the story, like it really helps so much versus just being Kevin MacLeod all the time. It's awesome.
Dude, that guy is awesome.
He is an amazing dude. Yeah, like
that guy is a
well placed Kevin MacLeod can work. So like my favorite one is like I had sworn off of Kevin MacLeod, but then when I was making Pico, I found the one sound where the guy he's looking for the dog and it's like.
Oh yeah, sometimes yeah.
That one is perfect. That one is perfect. That one works.
It'd be so fun now to like score film entirely with his music. Like, like I want to, so I don't want to figure it out.
And there's
maybe for my Brickfilm comeback.
Yeah,
I'll, like,
it would work. It would work because I feel if you find something really good, because there's like the whole like like there's all of this stuff that everybody uses, that every single person on the planet has used.
Yeah.
But then there's like some stuff that like I'm like, is anyone? I've never heard this before in my life. Like that is like there's some good deep cuts on that incompetent.
Yeah, no, he is prolific as fuck. He is crazy.
Yeah,
like I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what he's like in person. I don't know anything about him, but he deserves $1 million right now. He has 2,000. He has composed over 2,000 pieces.
That is crazy.
That guy needs some major sax.
If he doesn't, what the?
Honestly, that guy.
Sets to Sneaky Sneak. What's it called?
Sneaky Sneak.
Sneaky Sneak. Honestly,
a sex scene with like Sneaky Sneak playing.
Honestly, if Kevin MacLeod doesn't get like an Academy Lifetime Achievement Award, like when he, I will be pissed the fuck off because he kickstarted so many people's filmmaking careers. But anyway, back on topic.
I think,
back on topic.
I'll go next. I decided for the showcase to pick a 90 News at 9 Brick film, The End of Sports, and
hell yes.
Yeah, I feel like 90 News at 9 it kind of occupied a similar space for me as similar to your work in that it was like showing that you could do something different to what everyone else was doing at the time of filming. And I guess it was also slightly more cartoon-like than what other people were doing.
Yeah, David is a huge inspiration for me for sure. I reached out to him again to have him do like a voice, like a really small cameo in Secrets and Lies.
Yes, that's right. I was so happy.
I feel like he is such like a sincere, awesome person. Like generally,
absolutely,
like, and his work is just so charming and awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like I think he's starting a podcast about parodisia, like I said, or something. Or I don't know if he started it, but I need to hear it. I forgot.
I would love, because I know that they had like a bit of a weird time with like YouTube at the end there, and so like I could I would love to just see them like just I don't know make like. Whatever. I just like they just have such a unique voice. Like in general,
the uniqueness, just the personality that shines through in the 90 News at 9 Brick films.
It really captures like I feel like this is a thing people say a lot with Brick films, but it really captures just this playfulness that really it always feels like so much fun, and especially with how like crazy like the sets are and those big like dragons and all these like amazing creations. It just feels like literally like when you're a kid and you just imagine all of the stuff that you could build and you're like, I'm gonna build this amazing thing, but like when you're a kid it looks like poop. But like with like their stuff, it's just like it feels so fully realized yet so
the films,
it never takes up too seriously.
They feel like they're excited to exist.
Yes. Yeah, like for real.
They have a really similar vibe to like Lego Island. Also.
Yeah,
like the
very good. Yeah.
There's like I wish there was more like Brick films that were trying to capture that feeling, you know, like of like that really just sincere like silliness.
I think that there are a lot of like going back to I think what you were saying about the way that you want things to look like when you're a kid, you know, when you're making stuff. And I think it is how you imagine in your head your Brick films, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah,
or just like mashing like Legos together on your freaking on that one playmat that everybody had in the 90s or whatever. Like, but like it's the exact same like feeling of play, and it's also just such like a massive like project because like they that like that. Projects. I think this is what the second to last one. I think
so. Yeah.
I want to say like and so like seeing that and I'm just like. It like over just that one like the quote unquote the second episode or whatever, like how much it just builds in ambition because that already starts kind of crazy, but then over that one just the amount of increase in quality while still maintaining that same like essence is just so it gets me.
And also something that kind of loops back to something we were talking about earlier, but like obviously I was watching these when I was really young and I just liked them because they were just entertaining Brick films, but as the years go on and I revisit them, like there's actually more to them, like in this one, The End of Sports, obviously it's like criticizing the news media, whereas he's like he's obviously biased and hasn't done any research. He's basically a Tucker Carlson-esque character in this one.
Just saying whatever.
And there's like
why
like stuff about consumerism and stuff in there. I think the classic example that for me is like across the series, there's the feud between green and orange, and like the people who wear green don't like the people who wear orange and such. And what I always find funny is that if you look at the comments, and well, okay, I think the comments are turned off now because of the YouTube Kids thing, but when you used to be able to see the comments, you'd see a bunch of kids in the comments like, I'm on team green or I'm on team orange, and I'd be looking at them now with my adult's perspective, and I'm like, oh, you silly kids, clearly it's a lampooning of real life bigotry. You're not supposed to pick a side.
You foolish children. But it's like we are all embedded. But for real, are you all y'all? Are we team orange or are we team green here? We have to clear this up.
Whichever one's the right one.
Whichever one has the most badass Lego.
So it's like,
yes, please.
I guess these are like a good example of kind of what I was talking about earlier, where it's like I'd like to see people doing something that has, there's some thoughts going on under the surface. And I feel like these films hold up really well. I can still watch them now, and I feel like I like them more now than I did back then, even.
It's another person where like I feel like a lot of people I found as like I've kind of revisited, like a lot of people like are a part of like the LGBT community now, like later, which is interesting. Like David, for example, or like my friend Aaron Bolger. I think he went by speaking.
I love Jargon. He's voiced in a bunch of my films. He's an amazing voice actor.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I need to get him.
I love it. He's so great. He's like another. It's like another. Like he came out as gay like a few years ago. It was like I don't know. There's just like a lot of stuff like that where I'm like, oh, it's really like it's kind of sweet. Like I don't know, because it's like again, like I always kind of had this idea of like the Brickfilming community as being like a lot of like bigots or something. Like kind of like when I left, like I was kind of like But then it's like as you kind of, and then like I came back to like the Discord and like everyone seems, or like everyone that I used to know seems to be really progressive now, which is awesome. Like I don't know, it's just really relieving, I guess. Like it was like a very like nice thing to like see.
Yeah, it's like just because it feels like, especially with like a lot of people having a lot of that same background with like really like demanding parents and just like I don't know, just stuff in general, just trying to find like community. It's like wow, it's really cool to see like a lot of people be able to find like whether it's through Brick films or just by that being a connective thing.
Well,
just I don't know.
It feels like back then there was a sort of a split. I mean, it was always the sheltered kids versus the older crowd, or else the European kids like me. Like I was always intentionally trolling the people in the chat. Like that was my favorite thing to do back then. It was needling everyone. But after a certain point, it was always this thing where we're sort of like, oh, we just have to accept that. They'll grow out of it, etc., etc. But like as time went on, people eventually would like be talking to us years later and like, oh yeah, I kind of left because the vibe was off. Like so we've kind of made some deliberate efforts to sort of keep the vibe in check a bit more deliberately. But
that's really awesome.
But like I guess I kind of wasn't expecting that aspect to come up, but it's another thing that I wouldn't have noticed back then, but I notice now is like the 1989 films, and this one like with the villain character, so it reminds me of Dr. X from Biff Mario with the same face and similar voice. But like all the 1989 films, you'll understand this. Many people listening won't, and they say, "What are you talking about, you lunatics?" But these films have this distinctive queer energy.
I agree.
And like they're completely clean, but like if you know, you know.
No, it's a sensibility thing. Yeah, it's like a sensibility thing for sure. It's like the sensibility feels very specific. Like, and you can see it like when you like I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's just like when you like think about like it's just, you have to like kind of you have to kind of know, you know. But it's like it's like yeah. I just did a little thing.
If you know, it's like it's intrinsic. It's like in everything.
Yeah. Like heighten. It also heightens it to an extent. Like it kind of like I think when I remember being a kid and watching it, it feels like there's like a missing piece to my understanding of it almost, if that makes sense. Like, but I feel like now, like when I watch it, it kind of connects with me fully because I
get that.
Yeah,
there's
I think
that I understand
as well. Like I say, you have sort of gaydar, but you have this kind of sense of always being aware of it, like in a way,
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, I don't know. It is just like it's a cool thing. And I think there is like a lot of like weirdly queer elements of my older stuff too, where I'm like, where I think about it, I'm like, this is not like fully straight or something. It's like you watch it and you're like, why was I doing that? Like as a supposedly straight like straight Christian male or something. Like,
it's
I feel a similar way.
It's like obviously I was like afraid to like go far or I wasn't trying to do anything, but there's just things that were popping out that were like
I think sometimes there's some things you aren't even conscious about, is there, until you you know,
it just kind of like
get some perspective.
Even like I look back at Benny and Lee Parallel Panic, and it's like, why are there so many jokes in here about Lee being gay wearing his flower shirt? I was like, I didn't notice that at the time. And they're not like offensive, you know what I mean? At least not to me.
I think it's something you even think about, but like going back to your old Brickfilms and seeing if there's like stuff you didn't even realise you were doing at the time. Be interesting to go back.
It's I just see like all of the little precursors of all of just like, I mean it's like not even the same thing, but just all of just like the and weird humor and stuff like that. I can just see little giblets of that, and now I'm just like, I feel like I've almost gone backwards. I feel like back then I was like, I really want to be really adult and like clean and like, I don't want to have anything too out there, and you just put that in there. But anyway,
I think there's like there's like a thing you have to get past where you're like at a certain point where it's like, if it's okay for me to be expressive in any way, like I think that was something that I had to get through. That was like a wall that I like. I remember, like I like about like halfway through, like whatever was like when you watch that like montage of my stuff, it's like I think there's like a point halfway where I became like not afraid anymore to like do stuff. But I think like it's just something that I think over time you have to kind of like kind of grapple with it in a way. You have to kind of like figure out how to get over it, because it's just like it's like scary at first, I think, in a way, but then like once you do, it's like not scary anymore.
It feels like,
I think it's like that's how it is with like all art, I think, too, is like to get to like the sincere expression you have to like work really hard to get like do the hurdle, as
long as you have to do it multiple times.
Like when I did Goodbye for a Party, it was like that kind of opened up like a door for me where I was able to like finally fully express myself, because I made like the javelin like wherever, like big jump to like get over that wall. And then like once I did that, I was like, oh, now everything is easy, because it's like wow, it's like now like I did that, now I can do this, because it's like and that's just how everything, I feel like every time you get over another wall, it opens up like a whole new world.
It's actually kind of something that I don't know if you never brought up actually, but like there's actually a film I'm making at the moment where I'm kind of thinking like there are elements to it that I don't even know how people are going to kind of like react to it. Certain things, it's like there is a lot of stuff where I'm kind of going directions where I haven't really gone before in terms of like the messaging, and like I can imagine a lot of people not even really knowing what the action would be, in a sense, not necessarily as personal, but more kind of like talking about really kind of like topical issues in a way. So people will find out in like 2 years time when it comes out.
That's the way it goes.
Doing that will then give you more room to then like go even further the next time, like explode and see what happens, which is it's like building on what you've done before is a really like good way to work, I think. And that's kind of I think that's what brick filming taught me for sure, is like if you keep like building on what you've already done, then it like like it's like literally like it's like like it kind of makes it like, and this is what I'm realizing with my work right now, where I'm kind of with like I'm doing like another season of Secrets and Lies on Ton of Sinners,
Nice.
and kind of what I'm doing is like using my previous work to contextualize stuff and kind of going like, okay, so I have all this stuff. It's like this language that I developed essentially. Like, how can I use that to then further the story right now, and then how can I, and it's like, what's interesting is I think like when you've kind of developed like a lot of stuff, it kind of becomes easier to figure out how to like refine the way that you talk about things. And I feel like that's kind of been the lesson I've learned over the years, like kind of over and over, is that like it's not like bad to like kind of look back at stuff and then use it to further yourself now, like
but that's the thing. It's like what we were talking about earlier about using brick filming to trying to make films that have a bit more the human element, or there's like something going on under the surface. And I feel like 19 News at 9, but 19 News at 9 has always been a huge influence to me on a like animation side of things. Like, actually, again, I mentioned Parallel Panic. There's a part in that where there's ejector seats, and the ejector seats come up on this big pole of 1x1 round plates. That was basically directly lifted from a whole bunch of things in 19 News at 9 used extending 1x1s. But it's like now I feel like I'd look at these and be thinking like, could I make something that has a similar vibe where like you can watch it and it's you could watch it as a kid and it's just entertaining, but then you could also watch it as an adult and think there's more going on as well. But it's not like obvious and cringy,
Yeah, it's just subtly there.
And I feel like some of the Taco Trouble, I mean, I don't know how that plays with kids, but like I feel like when I first watched Taco Trouble, and then probably would have if I watched Taco Trouble 2 as that age, like I feel like it's funny, but then also I don't know, I feel like I can't at the moment pinpoint what it is, but there is definitely something where I'm just like, the more I watch it and the more I get into it, the more that I'm just like,
that's part of why I love Biff and Mario. Is like, I guess Biff and Mario is, it's funny because it's like on the surface it's like crude and immature, but it's like there's something clever about it. There's something like it's not just like dumb Family Guy jokes, and that's why when making Taco Trouble 2, because I was making it for so long, like I had a lot of time to think about what are the implications of the jokes, and I wanted to have this sort of like idea in mind, like what is the message this film is sending. And that's why I made the YouTube description say something like two men with no morals and no regard for the truth will try anything to win over the jury. It's like I tried to use the description to give it a point,
Yeah, because it is an interesting interplay with just how those characters work, and we'll probably move on to the next film in a second. But it's just like the way that those characters, like, I don't know, are. For one, it does feel like an interesting. It feels like the adult side of like the Lego playfulness, or like almost like the adolescent side of Lego playfulness, where you're like, I'm taking these things that are really innocent and making them wild and vulgar and crazy, but like the characters also just feel like so well realized, where it's like, they're saying like a lot of horrible things, but it feels like it's contextually right for the story. It just feels fun.
What was the film that had like this kind of gratuitous sex scene in it?
Was that For Troubadour?
Maybe it was like boobs,
Trip to Elfin.
had like boobs in it.
A Trip to Elfin. Like, all right, and that's coming up on screen right now.
Oh, you're talking about For Troubadour. Jason Boyle.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Boyle. The one where it's at the bottom and there's like a coke den or something, and then up on the top there's these people fucking on the bed, and it's like it's like it's a beautiful dolly shot through the floor that goes up to these people. Their brains out.
I remember that was so offensive to me as a kid. I was like,
I can imagine. Because like in almost any movie that you could make, that would like make people go like, whoa! Like in a Lego movie.
We still joke about that because it was just this like, as far as I remember, it's just this hard cut, and then it's like, it was just like
they're going at it. It's amazing.
Like it was pretty gratuitous, even I would say.
Yeah, like as an adult, it's like a little much. It's like
I feel like now as the editor of this episode, I'm thinking like, how am I going to edit this? Showing these clips.
Oh, you've got a little thingy up for you now.
This is part of Brickfilm history, whether you like it or not.
This is Brickfilm history. This is badass Brickfilm history 101 right here, and you can't escape it. Is that on? That's right. All of it got removed from YouTube, as we talked about in the Brickfilms Ice.
Oh yeah. Well, it's still on Vimeo. It's on the wiki.
Yeah, it's still. Oh, it's on Vimeo. That's interesting. But
when I was making Tiger Trouble 2, I had the jury is all made of Brickfilm characters, you know, and they were all chosen by me, like tributes to stuff that I liked. And one of them is one of the characters from 8 News at 9. And
yes,
the thing about this was, as far as I remember, Dave Pickett had like a statement on his YouTube channel that said something like he doesn't mind if people put his characters in their Brickfilms. And you know, obviously, I was asking people if I could put the characters on the jury, but I saw that statement and I was kind of like, okay, I'm golden, you know, like I don't need to ask him because he says it's okay. And I kind of has this thing where like I find it very hard to like message people and ask them for things, you know, even if it's just permission to use something. I just don't like approaching people and saying, hey, can I do this, or can you do this for me? It's like I hate doing that. So if I can find any excuse, like if he says it's okay, then I'm not going to do it. But so like I made the film, but then I was about to release it and I was like absolutely myself, like, oh no, like how is he going to take all of these like gay jokes in the film? And like I understand how they're like, there's a point to them if you watch the full film and consider all of the lines as a whole film. I was like, okay, I know I'm going to have to release this, and there's probably going to be like some like casually homophobic kids who just laugh because like, lol, he said gay, and they won't get the actual point of it. But it's like, I kind of like, I was hoping that the older people would get the point of it, but I was like thinking to myself, oh no, what if he doesn't get it? It's like, should I message him now? But I can't message him now and say, well, I've already put the character in, but it's like, but it's like, I think he commented possibly on it. I don't know, but it's like,
I feel like
I feel like he did. So I was super relieved. But you know, I'm hoping he'll listen to this podcast, and I assume you'll tag him on Twitter because we're talking about the films and stuff. But I just think it's kind of funny to look back on it now, I guess.
Hell yeah! Like
just while I had the opportunity, I just felt like like telling that story.
Oh man.
So Space Adventure.
So okay.
I haven't seen this one, but I'm looking at it right now. It looks
Spacey
amazing.
Adventure. So this. It is like, I feel like it is like, if there can be a science to like what makes like a perfect brick film, I feel like this is definitely like, there's definitely several ingredients, there's definitely several types, because you can't just have one, but like this one just scratches like so many itches for me, and it feels also just like so different, because I'm not really like a huge like sci-fi just whatever this stuff guy, but like this one just like it really just feels like so whole in a way that's like, you know, it's got that freaking like 16 millimeter just like fuzzy coziness to it. It's got all this modded like Lego, and they have just they give absolutely zero about completely just obliterating it with like explosives and dynamite and like a blowtorch with this one scene, and it just feels like in the same way we say, like, I don't know, Nightly News at 9 or just a lot of other stuff where you can really just feel all the way through that these people are just having an absolute ball all the way through making it. Like, it's just so much fun. And, like, all of the, like, green and all of the little fuzzy, like, you know, model grass and stuff like that in the dirt. It's just, like, it's just so much about it.
Do you know what's kind of funny?
I love the faces.
Yeah, yes! I was literally going to bring that up, because, like, one of the funny things about this is that this actually, I believe, predates the faces that are like not just smileys.
Yes, because these are like they're all custom. Because this is
before the Pirates.
It's the same year as the Pirates sets came out, but this was in production since like '84.
Yeah, so that would be long
really.
Before.
Oh wow, this is old as hell.
It's from 1989. As far as I'm concerned,
for real?
It's one of the most impressive brick films ever made. Not even just for its time, but like of all time.
It just keeps giving. Like it really like I put this. I'm just gonna bump myself. I got ridiculous playlist game on YouTube, and I've got like lots of different playlists for like my favorite brick films and favorite animation, favorite stop motion, and this one is just in like all of the buckets. Like this is just it scratches so many great itches where I'm just like, it's one of my favorite things in general. Cause
that shot when the you know the villain is revealed, the doors open. And there's that yellow light.
I always say about this film is like there's sets in it, there's shots in it where you could just film it today and release it today, and people would say that's amazing. And that's some of the best stuff I've seen this year.
That is balling. Like it is crazy. Like it is one of
I'm looking at a shot right now that's like it's like from below, and it's like this guy on like a ledge with all these people looking up at him.
Yeah.
Like it has like it's like held up by like these like bricks that are really interesting looking. It looks so cool. I'm like, like blown away by this.
It's like, because it's massive, like the scale is like huge, but it never really crosses over and not feeling like homemade.
That's true, yeah.
Like you can still feel like in every shot, you can still feel just like the living room floor energy just like vibrating up from below, which I just love. And then like the way that like, because I feel like it's the same abandon where it's like, you know, a lot of people nowadays, and it's fine if people like this, but like, you know, the sort of purism of like, you know, I don't want to modify Lego and I don't want to do this, which is fine, whatever. But just like the playful abandon where they're just like, I'm making something that is cool as fuck, and I don't care if I'm just completely obliterating my entire collection. Like it's just so like it really just scratches so many itches for me. And it was really funny because like I was watching all of the showcase things and like also rewatching a lot of your stuff through this, and like after watching like Wasteland and A Dog That Smokes Weed and then Birdface and Birdface Origins and then Deranged Lego Movie, which we'll talk about in a second, spoiler alert, like, and then coming to this, I was like, this movie almost feels like it's on NyQuil to me compared to like everything else that I've watched so far. Because like the other thing, if you see it later, it has like this, because I think this is from, it's either from Australia or it's from the UK. I forget exactly where it's from.
Norway.
That.
The voices are from the UK because it was sent to a like UK children's TV channel who did all the audio.
Yeah, because like
because the Lego group decided it was too violent, but a children's TV channel thought, no, it's fine.
This would be good. Like, but it has has this energy, because like, and this is going to sound very specific, but it has like this like Thomas the Tank Engine energy to it. Because I was I was nuts about Thomas the Tank Engine as a kid. I was like, when I die, I want you to bury me with my Thomas the Tank Engine toys. Like, and so like it just has that like, you know, even when all of this, everything's just going crazy and everything's just going bonkers, it always feels like polite about it. It always feels like it's politely, everything's politely going to, like, it's great.
I do like the voice acting. It's kind of like, oh no, but
oh no.
Yeah. I was gonna say like, because you know, obviously I remember like seeing UK TV channels when I was like a super young kid, and like this has the voice like. Those old kids channels have a very specific way of talking. Like, hello. Oh no.
I'm the hat of Mr. Top
What are we going to do today?
The big boulder has killed every train. Like all of that stuff.
Something I did think about though when I was watching it today was there's a charm to it in that it feels a bit like a dad playing with his kid.
Yeah, it's got that. Like they got the dad to voice it or something like that, or like the dad is doing all the pyro and he's just like, I haven't gotten to release this inner primal energy in so long, and I'm so jazzed about this. Like, yeah, that is so right. Oh. Like this film's got electricity. This to me,
for
it's
real.
Just, very very good.
The cinematography is amazing. Like there's a shot when quite near the end that the rocket is kind of like flying, and there's these like bars that they kind of like go past the camera, and it's just like incredible.
And I love that too, with like all of the lasers are like these big long tubes, and I'm just like, that is so good, because I'm so used to like the After Effects, how to do a lightsaber like laser tutorial.
Oh, and of course all the real fire.
Yes,
that's a classic of 80s Brickfilms.
Like, and then they like animate with the fire. There's some things where I think like a spaceship gets hit by a thing, and I think what they literally would do, like, because once the spaceship gets hit, it's still moving in stop motion while there's this real fire that's flickering, and so I think that they just like. They either like lit it on fire, took a frame, put it out, moved it, lit a fire again, took a frame, or they just like lit it on fire and were just like, take a frame, take a frame, like while their smoke alarm is just absolutely going haywire in the background or something like that. But it feels like I'm evolving, and I'll go wherever the hell I go. But before I die, I want to make a work film that's just like this, where it just just has this
awesome.
like energy, where it's just like, I don't know, it just feels like everything that like you want as a kid, or this is like what you think your brick film looks like when you're 11 or something like that.
So
manifest, you know, it's just, oh man.
We love showing this to people in the Discord every opportunity we get, so we're very glad we get to talk about it on the podcast, sort of cement it. One of the best brick films ever, I think.
Ever since I was robbed of the chance to do a Brickfilm Showcase the last time I was on this podcast, I've been like, this is the brick film that I want to do as a showcase, and I was so glad that nobody stole it from me. So I was really happy to do this. So yeah, go watch.
Hell yeah.
So
epic sauce.
And speaking of epic, super epic, awesome sauce, we have one last
Yeah,
film
so my pick was the Deranged Lego movie, which I think is the first brick film I ever saw, I think.
Really? That is a way to start, and it makes so much sense.
Yeah, I think it's that or Han Solo Affair. I don't know which one was the first one.
Both great ways to start.
I think Han Solo Affair was the thing that I started making brick films because I saw that. But I think this might have been my first one that I saw. I don't remember, but either way, it was one of the two.
Yeah. Like the interplay with the movies that get you going and how that relates. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, but like I remember this one felt like it was illegal for me to watch or something. Like I was like scared that my mom would find me watching it or something. I remember this like deep panic that I was gonna be found out watching this.
I really
and it
so
was
many. Yeah.
But it was the funniest thing I had ever seen in my entire life, and it was completely life-changing. Like, something about it was so it hit me so hard. Like, it was like, this is like the most like excited I've ever felt. Like, I was like so like I was like it felt electric to me. And like now even watching it, I'm like, this is like so good. Like, and I do a lot of guest talks and stuff. Like and I do one about like kind of creativity and stuff, and thinking about kind of using simplicity and like following your instincts to like kind of work in a more like way that is beneficial to you as a person. And I always show this first before I show anything else, because I think the freeness of it in the way that it's so like tangential and so like stream of consciousness is so inspiring to me, like even as an adult, where it's like, this is so much better than like Star Wars, you know, like as a
so
movie.
much better.
This is better
so
than
much.
like this is better than like whatever you're thinking. It's better than like anything. It's just like
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, like it's like you're watching like just children having fun and like putting something together, like a train track, like as the train is going, and it's so inspiring creatively, because it's just so like viscerally like about having fun, you know, and like just like kind of figuring it out. And I want to make stuff like that. That's like what I think like is like the goal almost, is like to always have that energy, is like like of just trying to do something and just trying to like feel something while you're doing it. And like so obviously they're just like these siblings who are all just like playing and figuring it out, and it's so just like I don't know, I love it so much.
I was going to go to a similar sort of place. I was going to say that, like, well, yeah, it's again, it's sort of like, it's not trying too hard. Like, it's super authentic.
Yeah.
Like, it's just coming straight out of the mind. But I was going to say, like, I feel like I remember seeing this a million years ago, but I kind of never really thought about it again until, you know, you mentioned it and I watched it again. I was like, oh man, I do remember this. But I wanted to say, like, I feel like back then I was, you know, watching things from brickfilms.com, things like, let's say, Beast or Grace, and I was thinking, like, these are so serious, they're so epic, you know, this is real brick filming. And so I feel like I would have seen something like this, and I would have liked it well enough, but I would have thought, but it's nowhere near, like, Beast.
Craft,
but like,
it's not there, honestly.
But nowadays I look back at Beast and I'm thinking, you know, it felt like a real movie when loads of people say this. It feels like a real movie when they're like 10 or 11. But you look at it now and it's like, it's kind of cheesy, it's kind of corny, you know, it's kind of funny now. But this, it's like, in 2007, it was a good shitpost. In 2022, it's a good shitpost. So I feel like it holds up better than Beast.
I think
that's my point here.
There's something that I wanted to point out, that I think it's at like 3:20. There's a shot where you see like the house, and you can see, I don't know if it's like a ferret or like moving.
Yeah, there's something absolutely going wild. Yeah, I was wondering what that was when I was watching it. It's just going absolutely wild. Like, it's crazy. That's awesome. Oh my god, I love
the part where it's like they lose the minifigure and they like put up like the missing sign like halfway through.
That got me the first time I watched this years ago, and that got me so hard again. It's so
like,
funny.
News alert, have you seen me? The animator misplaced Dorothy between filming sessions. She will not appear in further scenes until she is found. It's so funny.
Because I did that. I did that when I was a kid. Where I was like, I'm gonna make this Brickfilm series, and I'm gonna and then I lost the minifigure, and they didn't show up. That minifigure didn't show up until like 3 months ago when my mom, who moved all the way across the country, was like, "What is this? Your minifigure?" And I'm like, but like it's that I related that so hard.
Again, it's reminding me of what we were saying earlier about like how we used to talk on the forums versus how we talk now. It feels like only now can I truly appreciate the childlike and chaotic Brick films like this.
Yeah.
It's weird to think about.
Yeah, I just love the opening sequence where it's just utter chaos. You got like the earthquake, and then this monster comes out for no reason.
And then, like all of this stuff, and like the opening I really got like I'm just gonna blast this in my ears while I talk real 20th quick.
Century
but like
block.
just the like. And like the absolutely psychotic MIDI that's just like it's got this like like it sounds like a machine gun going off for all of like the drums. Like it just feels like such a great like it's almost a precursor, like a several year precursor to the you know what is it like the kazoo version of that same thing. Like this predicted that like ahead of its time. And like the animation, I was surprised at some points. So I'm like, this is like good. Like I like this. Like there's this one part where like I don't know, like the PETA guy, like I think the hunter dude like shoots a dog, and then the PETA guy like jumps in the air, like, leaps. And I was like, that was good. That was real good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's certainly on a technical level a lot more watchable than a lot of the other YouTube core stuff from back then.
Yeah, like it's great with that.
I love the voice acting so much.
Yes.
Like the voice acting to me, like I wish I could get these kids to like do voices for me now. Like I wish I could go back in time and record them, because like they're so like there's something about like the way that they're delivering their lines. It's so
the
like
deliveries are great.
I don't know. I just love it. Like I love the way it sounds. Like it's like
I love when they keep repeating,
"We need a new wise man."
It's the same recording every time.
Because it feels like the energy. I can feel like them just like in their room, and like they have to read the lines, but like they can't stop giggling. Like they're just like completely doubled over, like, and they just like can't get a clean take. And so like
we need a new wise man who won't wearing gloves.
Because like that was literally what it was, and it's just so charming.
It's like I feel like people still do videos like that where they repeat this exact same audio recording and make it obvious. And it's like
it is
this era of YouTube with these with these completely wild videos and the early YouTube poops. Like it basically invented all of the stuff that's popular in meme culture. Now. It's kind of forgotten. Really.
With the one segment of the iceberg video, which Jody, I don't know if you saw beyond the segment where we bumped you, which I don't blame you.
No, I watched the whole thing.
Hell yes, okay, that's awesome. But the segment about the ancient YouTube brick films, really like I loved going through that, because there's every single one of those brick films that are in there are absolutely hilarious in a lot of the same ways that this one is. Like where it's just like complete anarchy, and just like the sound is clipping left and right, and everything is just going absolutely insane. Like I don't know, like
and I Am Watching You Pee is a shit post.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was that Harry?
No, he made a couple of videos based on that. But the original is just a random 10 seconds.
He's like, let me pee in your mouth. Like, open your mouth right now. I gotta pee. Which
I remember that.
I think, but
I completely don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen that.
This is extremely obscure Brick film history, but
he was like, his parents he got in trouble for making that, and his parents made him take it down.
They made him delete the videos from his channel, so they're missing Brick films, unfortunately. They didn't just make him delete them from his channel; they made them delete them from his computer.
Dude, like, okay, this is my memory of them.
Completely lost.
My memory of it's like some guy is sitting down, and like another guy comes in, he's like, open your mouth right now, I gotta pee, and it's like an extended gratuitous sequence of like this guy peeing in someone's mouth.
What?
Like
it's like so like
crap,
out of character for him. I feel like,
pee.
and it like has this like insane music playing. Like it was like it was so funny to me at the time. I thought it was hilarious. I was in love with it, but then it tragically was deleted.
I'm pissed. I'm pissed because that sounds like my exact. I know that I'm just playing the type right now, and I know people are like, of course, Sonjira, you like think we're someone pees in a guy's mouth gratuitously, and I say yes, but like, I'm so pissed. Oh,
there was like another one that they made him delete, but I don't remember it very well.
There was 2, maybe 3. I Am Watching You Pee was an influence on those, but the original I Am Watching You Pee video is just some completely random video from like 07 YouTube. that we've always loved.
Yeah, I love that one as well.
I think I'm watching If He was probably a huge classic in our Skype group.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. Which one was? What was the other one that Harry had to delete? Like it was like.
There's several.
There was at least 2 pee related videos.
Yeah, it was definitely piss related.
I didn't know that Bonyari boy was such a brother in the piss. Oh my god, I feel so kindred right now.
This is probably the most chaotic podcast episode we've ever done.
I also have like an infamous deleted one, I think, where like it was when I learned what the Holocaust was.
Oh my god.
I don't know if anyone remembers this. I think Harry probably remembers because I remember he's made a lot of jokes about it, but it's like I was like maybe like 11 or 12 or something, and I had never heard of the Holocaust before. I'm Jewish, but I'm like kind of Jewish. I'm like, you know, whatever. Anyway, but like I didn't know what the Holocaust was.
Yeah.
And I found out what it was, and it was for a creative project for my charter school that I was a part of. And I was like, I don't want to write an essay. Can I make a brick film instead? And I made the most in poor taste, like terrible video. That was removed from Bricks in Motion because it was so offensive. And
Wow.
And then I remember I showed it to my mom, and she was like, "Yeah, it kind of seems like you're trying to make people laugh at the Holocaust." And I was like, in hindsight, like I was so stupid. I was just so stupid. But it was like, I am so glad that there's probably no way to find that because it's so offensive. Like it's.
Well, if I had never heard of it before, then I think you're in luck.
Yeah, no, that is insane.
It was promptly taken down.
If you pull out a Penta thing where he's like, "What is that?" You know that you're.
Yeah, no, I don't think you'll be able to find it because I think
you're golden.
You're golden. It has been forgotten.
I remember it was like basically it was like Hitler giving a speech, and it was in my lol so random like 2009 humor, you know, like so you know it's already bad. Like it's like he's giving a speech, and it's like World War II or something like, and then like and it's like him going crazy, and then it's like. And then it like gets really dramatic all of a sudden, and it's like realistic. It's like actual pictures from the Holocaust all of a sudden. So I was like trying to figure out like how to like. I was like trying to figure out how to like I didn't know how to do anything serious at the time, obviously, because I was like a kid.
Yeah,
so it was
same.
like, but it was like you know, it was just like me thinking that it would work somehow, like being like, oh, if I like suddenly have it like jump from like 2009 so random Hitler humor to like real Holocaust shit, like, and you know, and then obviously got taken down by Bricks in Motion because of graphic imagery, and I was like,
That's practically an achievement.
It's like literally you and the snuff.
It was just Google
Brickfilm.
images of like, dude, I don't know. I just like It's so weird to remember that because I'm glad that I went through that though in a way because I feel like it made me a little bit more. It made me way more sensitive. I think to like when I make stuff, you know. And I think it kind of was kind of weirdly formative, like this, like because obviously I didn't get in trouble or anything, and everyone I think knew I was a kid, so I don't think anyone was like,
of course,
I don't think anyone on Bricks in Motion was like, I don't know, it was like judging me or anything. Anyone thought I was like crazy or something.
Yeah.
But it's just like I feel like it definitely left an impression on me where I'm like, oh, you can actually like go over a line or something. And I think I internalized it really hard, you know.
Maybe it was kind of better, like I don't know, back then you could kind of a bit more forgivable back then. Somehow.
Yeah, with stuff like that being like so.
I am reminded of like it sort of reminds me of how, you know, everyone was like saying like, how could, you know, Shane Dawson do blackface, and it's really weird to be able to remember 2009 YouTube, and it's like that just flew. Yeah, no, it was such a different time. I don't know. Nobody. Yeah. Like everyone was like, "Oh, the most racist thing you could think of. That's hilarious." Like that's like now it's like, holy. Why did we think that was okay? Yeah. But it's like, I don't know, like me and my friend Victoria talk about this all the time, where it's like she was obsessed with this video about like that I think like Ray William Johnson made, where it was like the stereotype song or something.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Yeah.
I think I love you more.
It's just like all these like extremely offensive, like awful things.
It's horrible.
And it's like at the time, like nobody thinks it's that bad or something. But it's like now in hindsight, like,
I remember that being brand new at the time.
Yes, I followed every single one of those.
Ray William Johnson, like, is like he did so much, like, just absolutely like stuff that would never fly today. Like, ever. It is, like you could never get away with that. And I think for a good reason, honestly, because like nothing back then was actually funny. Like it was
no,
like
there's nothing clever about it.
Yeah, it's not like we're not talking like George Carlin or something.
Yeah.
We're like talking about like these demented.
It's not like Blazing
people.
Saddles or something.
Yeah, it's just saying
we're
the
talking
worst
about,
thing possible.
Like awful flash animations of like people making just saying offensive things, and that's like humor somehow. Like, it's just crazy to look back on. And I'm glad like there's been like a taste that's developed over time. Obviously, like people are more like knowing what not to do, because I just feel like that was like a weird time to grow up too. Like it was like, but I feel like it definitely made me. I don't know. I feel like it made me think about a lot of things for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I'm glad that most of us kind of survived that and managed to actually have a better understanding of things,
like a moral code of some kind.
Isn't it weird living in this kind of point though? Like, looking back like 15 years ago, and it's not really that long ago, it's like
and
well, on the internet it's an eternity. The whole culture on the internet was completely removed from the rest of reality, especially back then.
Yeah, for sure.
Nowadays it's like the internet and real life.
You look at like memes from back then, like advice animals or something. Like they're so different.
It's
than, like, anything
completely nonsense. Also, people still go on like and make those on like a subreddit. They still make those to this day, and I'm just like, I can't imagine just being in such like a complete like bubble shield from everything else on the internet that you're still like, I'm gonna make the freaking seal going like, I'm an awkward seal right now. Like, but it's. So
I had an idea for a Bad Luck Brian meme where it's like, I don't know how to tell. It was like a dream I had, I think, where it's like a picture of a baby, and then it says "Bad Luck Brian, all grown up" or something. Like
what? Bad luck.
Like he grew up to be a baby. Like I don't know.
He grew down.
Yeah, he grew up to be a baby.
How bad lucky of him. How bad lucky.
But I do love all the ways that people have brought back the troll face are hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I feel like, also, Never Gonna Give You Up is like an actually good song.
It is
so,
a great song.
Yeah.
It is an amazing, objectively amazing song. Yeah.
It's like very good. It's like very emotional too. Like like I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't believe how that has had such a resurgence. And it feels like the people who post it now treat it as if it's a new meme, even though they're probably younger than it.
Than the actual 100%. Yeah. Like it is like. Were people at a time? I guess it was just because it was the meme song. Like, were there a time where people were like, "This is kind of like"? Because I remember.
Jam into that, or
I guess Because I remember the first time I heard it, it was like I think it was on a thing where it was like new Sonic game footage leaked or something like that, and I was like, "Yo!" And then it came up, and I was like, I just had no idea what the was going on, but I was just like, "Okay," and then it kept happening. I was like. Yeah, ooh, no strangers. Like it's always good. It's just really good.
Yeah.
Good job, Rick.
Good job, Rick.
Good job. We love Rick. Yeah.
I kind of forget what we were talking about to begin with.
The Deranged Lego movie.
To relate this back to brick filming, good job, Brick.
Yo,
good job, Rick.
It's like if you took a Rick but then put a B in front of his name. Yeah, alas.
Yeah, we're on the strangest train of thought of all time here.
This is honestly very appropriate for how many swerves and swerves we've.
Is there anything more to say about the Deranged Lego movie?
I think I've said everything I want to say.
Yeah, I think this is. You can pretty much probably just play this podcast at whatever little talk you do in the future, and I think you're ready to go on.
4-hour long podcast.
Yeah, this is the Deranged Lego podcast.
That better be the YouTube title. Deranged Lego podcast. Oh,
you should rename your podcast to that.
Yo, let's go. That's awesome. Hello, everybody. Let's get it. Well, come on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Deranged Lego
rediscovered this video, I like the word deranged became like a very common thing I say now.
Yeah.
Like because I refound this video, now I can't stop saying deranged.
It is a very specific word that you don't hear in normal conversation.
You see, when you put the list of like films that you wanted to kind of talk about in the email, and it's all Deranged Lego Movie, I thought it was going to be like to do with the Lego Movie, but like just the deranged version.
Oh, do you remember Lego Figures on Crack at all?
Oh, that sounds so familiar.
I don't think
that was like huge in this era, and I feel like the Deranged Lego Movie is almost like a better version of that.
Oh, I also wanted to talk about the Superhero by Lego Studios Plus.
Oh, wow.
we still reference the Superhero all the time.
That was so big back then. Like,
yeah, it is.
I don't know. And then like I remember I had this experience where I felt bad for him or something, and I remember I would like Skype him and stuff, and I'd be like, look, like you gotta like you gotta like really up your game or whatever. And I was like, and I would like edit I edited like some movie for him or something. Like I remember, like he gave me his file and then I like edited it for him. And I don't remember why I did that, but I remember I felt really bad for him or something. I was like, it was a strange moment for me. I don't know what I was
Just to
doing.
clarify, you told them you gotta up your game, dude. I like you gotta up your game, dude.
Yeah, I don't think I obviously didn't say it like that, but I was like, I remember I was just like,
that is hilarious.
I wanted to like take him under my wing or something, you know.
Here, come on, we will make
like a figures on crack, stick figures on
I
crack
posted the
parody.
link. Man, nobody remembers stick figures on crack anymore.
Oh my god.
That definitely does sound
sliding.
familiar.
This stuff was huge at the time, though.
Yeah.
Although Lego Figures on Crack 2 has 1 million views as well.
Yeah, and it has like a thing on the thumbnail where like a character is like flattened like a clay pancake. I like that. Oh my god.
That was something I did. I did that in business.
Making.
That one.
History.
Oh, Penta, if you want more of my things, I have more you can put on your little
I
thing.
just saw like Penta just went from like, you know, just normal thing to like a sparkle and a twinkle, a little bit of drool off the side of his mouth.
I was considering if I should ask for some of those missing Brickfilms, yeah.
I have a bunch that are missing, I think, from
I mean, are they still all on YouTube, just private now because of that? At some point, unlisted videos got switched over to private automatically.
Yeah, let me find some. I definitely have business. I know I have a few more that were like unfinished or something.
But I'm kind of thinking, should we record an official ending to the podcast?
Oh,
Yeah. This is gonna be you know how I want to edit. But yeah, no, I you know, thank you so much for joining us, both of you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I
think since the beginning of starting this podcast, I've been looking forward to finally getting you on.
Hell yeah!
I'll come back
after all these years.
Come back.
Absolutely.
If you make a brick film.
Hell yes! Well, I demanded it must happen again.
Yes.
But no, Joni, like it's just it's a huge staple with like the Brickfilming community, and also
and it's been so exciting to follow your like paths over all of these years in you know beyond brick filming. Yeah,
like your stuff the stuff you make now is just absolutely incredible.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys like it. I'm glad you guys didn't fall off when I started doing
No,
I started my
you fell
non-brick film era.
Yeah, you fell on. Yeah, exactly.
That's what. Yeah, let's say you successfully went over the hump of people going, "Wait, this isn't Lego. What?" That's always the hardest thing you got to do. And
I definitely lost a lot of views when
I find it funny. Like at some point, I was looking at one of your films on Letterboxd, and one of the reviews started with something like, Jonni Phillips is most well known for a Black Dresses music video, and I was like, what? Jonni Phillips is best known for Lego videos.
Really?
So it's just that we have this perspective, but you've gone on to bigger and better things.
That music video is amazing, though. That is a great fucking music video.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
I definitely feel like I should make. I want to make that one I was talking about for sure. Now I'm like kind of like I feel like I've been I don't know. A lot of like as I said, like all the, like synchronistic stuff feels like I feel like I kind of should at this point.
The universe is calling for you to come back to Lego movies on crack.
I gotta.
And also, I gotta say, I'm really glad that you know, some people when they stop brick filming, they kind of stop interacting with anyone. But I'm glad that you still, you know, you're still there on Twitter talking to brick filmers and like occasionally posting about your old brick films. I think. Yeah, it's just it's always nice to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a huge part of my life where I don't. Yeah, it's like it's kind of like I don't look at what I'm doing now in isolation. You know, like I feel like there is all the brick film work that I did is like a huge chunk of my career in a sense. Like even though it was what I was doing when I was younger, but it's like, you know, kind of led to what I'm doing now in a way. So it's like I really. Also, again, like I have so many fond memories of like the community and everything. So it's like you know, I really appreciate everything.
Yeah,
so you can see the progression there. Like when you made Rachel and her grandfather control the island, we were all saying, isn't this just Jeffrey the Old Man?
Yeah, I definitely had like a
That's awesome.
yeah. I really It's a lot of stuff. I don't know.
Real, you know, everything is connected, and like you know, People think you can leave like the past behind, but you can't. It's always
you can't.
Like it can come back to you in a fuzzy way that informs your work, or I don't know. It's nice when like you like going old and then like kind of settling with that and then being like, oh wow, like how did this make me who I am? Because I've taken so many paths, but I took the Lego one and then everything else.
I mean, I really don't think I would be able to be as prolific as I am now if I hadn't had like the Brickfilm education, like, because again, like I didn't learn anything at school, like I really didn't, like when I say that, it's a kind of a sincere thing where I'm like, I literally learned everything just from doing it through brick filming, like figuring it out with brick filming and everything, and like I don't know, and like now I'm just kind of continuing to work with it, and it's just weird to like kind of be like, there's like, I don't know, it's just kind of crazy to like retrospectively analyze everything.
Hell yeah.
But I definitely want to make another one because I feel like I can really, I think with hindsight now especially, I can kind of look at what was happening back then.
Really unique perspective if you made a brick film now at this stage. I feel like I need to now, honestly, so I'm gonna figure it out hopefully. but certainly we'll be looking forward to whatever comes next, whether it's the brick film or not.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I got that Samayato season 2 coming pretty dang soon, so that's some good stuff to be hyped about.
I have a lot of stuff happening right now, which is cool. I'm like doing that, and then I'm also having a lot of secret things that I can't talk about. So. I have like so many things happening that it's like stressful.
Oh,
but it's like,
hell yeah, that's the way to be. Yeah. For just a final last question, but if any wayward block film or Lego baby who listens to this podcast want to get started with your stuff, where can they find you? What do you think they should start with to get
my
it going
website? Probably.
Hell yeah.
I would say JonniPhillips.com.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's kind of the most organized. Right now, I've kind of decided to make my YouTube channel not organized at all, but I was in a little phase for a little while where I was like, it should be organized. But now I'm like, I want to just have everything up there, I think. My website is the most organized version of everything.
Yeah.
So that'd be the best place.
And freaking check out Barber Westchester that just came out this January. That is hot.
Yeah,
also the Wasteland series. It's a movie, but you can also watch the individual videos, which are good little giblets too. Good to Find Forever Party, I feel like is like a really like I feel like that's a, I don't know, that's like a, that one or The Earth is Flat. I feel like a lot of people couldn't like hop to that and like get it and then start rolling and really just get into the vibes of it. I think.
Yeah, I think The Five Party is interesting because it's like I feel like it's definitely maybe my weakest of my longer stuff. I think I don't, at least just in my own mind, I think people really resonate with it like the most though.
Yeah, it feels like because it has it's the mash of like being like having enough time for things to develop, but also like feeling very contained because it really is like, and I think it's pretty damn good. Like when I watched it this morning, but it's like just the focus on these two little people. Like, and it just felt just so like raw, and especially the way that like that one scene happens, which I will people can watch it, but like it's just good. Watch that.
It's definitely a very weird thing to think about because it is just fully talking about like what was happening in my life at the time. It's like very. But like when I was making it, I didn't know that at all. But now it's like, that's
often the way. Yeah, only when you look back at it, you think that I can totally see where these things came from. Yeah,
but like I just thought it was like so like thematically strong with having that like the breakup scene out on the thing, and then you having the one character who's like literally just in a mask, just like a happy mask.
Yeah.
You can't even see how they're like reacting to it while they're just going through the like a really just absolutely like soul crushing little experience. I was like, this really like is a great way to do it because it would almost be too much if they were both just absolutely like as they would be like completely balling out.
It's definitely like a kind of in hindsight it's kind of expressing what it's like to have like DID and stuff. It's like very like I remember that the relationship that I was in and at that time I wasn't able to be sincere about anything, and I wasn't able to be true about what was actually happening with me or like how I actually felt about the person, and I kind of went along with it even though I knew I didn't want to, and I kept it going because I was afraid of like losing the person even though it wasn't a good relationship. And there's kind of like these it's very like in hindsight I go like, oh, that is literally what I was doing, just like in a cartoon version of it. And it's like kind of sad in a way to like think about because I'm like, I wish I would have just listen to myself instead of making a movie about it. But also now
sometimes you gotta do that.
The movie exists. The movie exists now, so it's like, okay.
This is the longest outro we've ever made.
This is awesome.
Okay, yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
And thanks y'all for asking me to come out, because this is a ball and a half.
It's been great to have you on as well.
Hell yeah!
Yes.
Like, I'm glad that we
thank you so
got
much.
to talk and reconnect and stuff like that.
And also your first ever, showcase on this podcast.
My first ever showcase, finally. Yeah. So yeah. Thanks for having me.
It's been great. So
YouTube.com/Sonjira.
True.
Yeah.
Well, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Oh.